audibly acceptable audiobooks. Right now, you can get over 100,000 million books through the KARAK-ACG Audiobook store. New York Times classics like I Married a Werewolf, Teen Bruisers, What Is This Dark Spot, Why Can't I Pull Off My Own Face, and the classic award-winning self-help book, How to Staple Your Mouth Shut by... Here is just a small sample of the audio quality that you can expect. He flicked the hair out of his face, the sweat beading off of it, his weight pressed down on her, his lithe form finding comfort in her curves. There was a sensuous quality to her body he couldn't get enough of. He slipped her bra off smoothly and tossed it onto the hard concrete floor. Bill patted the old Corvette with one hand. That's it, baby. Let me know all your secrets. An entire world is waiting for you. Just download them on the go to your Android or that one company that fucking hates headphones, so they remove the port completely. Listen on the go. Pretend you're busy so you don't have to engage with others in society. And that's right, you can do it all from the comfort of your little safety cocoon of sound, you goddamned introverts. It's best if you also don't make eye contact and beat your head like you're cooler than everyone else is. Just $19.99 a month plus taxes and fees and VAT times 2, or our subscription service that's only $19.99 a month plus VATs and fees and service times 2. And allowing our tracking cookies, you can have instant access to all that you desire when it comes to the audio realm. So join KARAK-ACG Audio and Audible audibly acceptable audiobooks now for when your eyes are just too fucking lazy to move side to side. And remember, you can't cancel at any time. KARAK-ACG Audio and Audible audibly acceptable audiobooks. Let's just stop moving as a species, you fatties. Today's podcast is brought to you ACG, and I'm here with Abzi, as always, for the Wednesday podcast. But we also decided to join, or ask to join, Asa. But prior to this, I think we probably scared him because we had a unique discussion. He's probably trying to find a way out. He'll have a technical issue halfway through this. Just joking. He's always good with that. But thank you very much for coming. I appreciate it, man. And sorry for the short notice.
I'm not trying to find a way out. You've made a terrible mistake inviting me here, but now I'm here and you're going to have to put up.
That's what we like to hear.
Yeah, you never quite know with him what you're going to get. He's like, today it's going to be, I'm going to be game on, all right. But first of all, normally I don't do this, and I should with guests. What have you been doing on your channel? Because I do watch your streams. You've got the long play of Baldur's Gate, right, going on?
You do. You drop in as a celebrity every now and again. So I've got, I'm on the Game on Daily channel every Saturday. We run our Go Live show that quite a few people know about, I suppose. But I've also got my own tiny channel, which only just hit 1,000 subscribers like
Congrats,
this week,
man.
which is a big deal with this YouTube, guys. Thank you. And yeah, I've been playing Baldur's Gate over there. I've been streaming some VR. And I do a little talk show on a Thursday. And a few reviews on Copying My Hero. That's you.
Good for you. What character are you? What character are you playing on BG3?
So my Baldur's Gate playthrough is a really slow, drawn-out one because I only play it twice a week. I'm playing it in co-op, properly co-op, like a D&D campaign with my wife and a friend that's in chat at the moment. I can't even remember what class I am. I'm a fighter.
You're
an orc fighter at the moment.
You're an orc fighter? Yeah, the Gennaro of all the classes.
That's my default, man. Just any dude with a big-ass weapon. That's it. I just need a two-handed big-ass, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I do show up for that, but I also show up for your little, I guess you'd call that a talk show, where you're, this last time I think I saw you were behind a bar.
Conversational. It's just, I sit behind some set dressing that I do every week and just have a chat with people. So it's a nice, relaxed one. Yeah,
they're very good, man. That's like, I would say, honestly, I'll check out some of these stuff once or twice, and then I usually am doing my own stuff. But yours, it's nice, too, because YouTube reminds me with yours. I don't know why, but it doesn't remind me with, 90% of the people I've subscribed to. But yours, I'll go in, I'll be like live. And so it's much easier to just pop in. No, you got a good thing going, man. It's nice. It's laid back. It's sort of cool. You guys bounce around different stuff. I also like that you're like, all right, we're done with this. Whatever, because you do much more, because it's just you. You've got the back and forth. And people will be talking about stuff. And you're like, we're moving on from that. Like, it's sort of nice because it doesn't stick too long on one particular thing. What is that just for your mental health kind of thing? Like I chose to do a little sit down, talk about games because all this other stuff I do is like, I mean, you get a say, obviously, but you got some loud voices, on your podcast. This is a loud voice.
Really difficult to answer. That's a profound question. Why do I do what I do? I don't know. You're right. On Go Live on the Saturdays, I pretty much sit as a spectator for most of it, pressing buttons and making the stream run, while people that have a lot to say a lot. But I do managed to, it's weird. I didn't think that these things would work when I sit down by myself and just talk to people and they just run for like 3 hours. So it turns out I also have quite a bit to say, apparently.
Yeah. Well, and you can pick up what they're talking about. And then if you're agreeing or disagreeing or just need to think about it for a day, you're able to do that after that podcast, think about it for a week or whatever until you do your own. It's sort of nice in those ways. I also think the one-on-one is, personally, that's what I used to do a lot before I, got the guys on. And there's something that is very cool about a one-on-one where you're just like, dude, I don't know where this is going to go, but let's just sit back and yak. And I wanted to do a Christmas one because I usually do those. The Christmas ones are cool because a lot of people don't celebrate it, or, they're not with their family. You can do a nice Christmas one, capture some people who maybe are alone, and really hard up for fun if they're watching me on a podcast by themselves on Christmas. Like, that's when you're like, dude, seriously, rethink your life.
I've told you this before, and I'll say it again while we're live so people know. I'm wearing your T-shirt for a reason. This show that we're on right now, I catch your Friday one live when I can, which means I watch it in bits and pieces. The Wednesday one, I'm always out on a Wednesday, so I never catch this live, but I always watch it the following day.
Thank you, man.
You restore my sanity in content creation because you're just people that like games and talk about games because you like them, and that's a lifeline for me.
Yeah, well, it's a lifeline for us because I got to tell you, sometimes, because I'm reviewing or whatever, and then we go in the Discord, and even our Discord's like that, as you've noticed. Like, everybody's like, yeah, so anyway, and we'll tease. We were just teasing prior to the podcast about certain people liking really bad games. But there's something funny about that even, where you're like, dude, he platinumed what was like a Forspoken or whatever. You're like, damn, that guy's got some staying power. But
oh shit, we're gonna throw him under the bus.
It doesn't even matter. Like, that kind of stuff is like awesome to me. I don't know, because I've liked some shit games too. I've definitely. But I appreciate you watching, man. Yeah, we have a blast.
What's the shittiest game you've liked?
Oh, dude. Okay, this is a game that is widely panned and hated by everybody and considered one of the worst on its gen. I don't even want to say it out loud. Drake of the 99 Dragons. Go look it up.
What the fuck is that?
Yeah, it's like a cartoon. It's a comic that was made into a cartoon game, I believe, on the Sega Genesis or Sega Dreamcast, maybe. And it's bad.
What the hell is this?
Yeah, it's terrible. I played it about maybe 2 years ago, but I played it multiple times through. It's just terrible. Yeah. What about you guys? Like, what's a game that is bad? Go ahead.
I just learned a few minutes ago that mine's Immortals of Avian.
There you go, man.
Yeah, so everybody knows what happened. I did not hear him say that he liked it, and I was going off on it. And then I heard Absy go, "Yeah, and he liked it." And I was like, "Wait, what?" But yeah, that's not widely panned though. It's medium reviewed, I think. Oh, TB says you also like Homefront: The Revolution. Listen, that's a good game. I like that game. Absy played that. Takedown played that. Like, you remember Homefront? I
only played the multiplayer. Yeah, it was fun as hell. I never played the campaign, but I heard some good things. It was like it's like Freedom Fighters or whatever. You control a bunch of guys.
Yeah. What did you think? What's your worst game then, Absy?
Fuck, I don't know, man. What I personally think is bad, I don't know, but I loved Lord of the Rings Conquest, and that one had like 6s and 5s when it came out. It's like my go-to. Kane and Lynch, I loved back in the. See, I don't know if I loved bad games because I was a kid, or if I just loved bad games because I loved them. You know what I mean? Because I loved everything as a kid. I just played everything.
Kane and Lynch depends on if you like one or two. Because one was considered good. Two is the one that was a disaster. Okay.
Gotcha. Yeah. Gotcha. Army of Two? No, Army of Two was awesome.
Army of Two was awesing. Any game where you play the guitar after mowing down a bunch of people is just like pure Americana. Yeah. It's like, bam, 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 high-fiving your friend in a bloodbath. It's like, who thought of this? Yeah. Me is who thought of it. Like, that is awesome. What's the worst game in chat? In chat, what's the worst game? Like, and don't be saying, Baldur's Gate, something stupid. Like, go for something.
I mean, Atomic Heart got it got 7s, but I loved it, and I thought it was really good. I didn't think it was bad. I mean, Starfield. I enjoyed Starfield, but a lot of people don't like Starfield.
Yeah, but see, the thing is, and I'm going to say this again: people don't give a fuck. If you have to italicize the word "people," means nothing to me. The scores are middling or high. 70s and above. It's like, that is what it is. I'm talking about those games that, like, you see entire channels built around, like, how did this get made kind of thing, or documentaries.
Oh, Jesus.
Like that bad. You know what I mean? Because otherwise we're just sort of like talking about middling games, which we're going to talk about in a bit.
Okay. Strangers of Paradise.
Oh, yeah.
Because
Yeah,
I
that
think
game
it's
is-
I
Yeah,
think it's
that game is
bad.
terrible.
Like I think it's bad, but I enjoyed it because of one aspect of it, which was the job system. And I knew while I was playing, I was like, "Oh, this is shit," like the levels. But I
Yeah.
still loved playing it because I like the job system, dude.
Dude, remember?
I downloaded that yesterday.
There you go,
Oh,
dude.
man.
Enjoy. Enjoy,
on
man.
PlayStation
remember-
Plus now, so I'm not paid for it. Like,
Yeah.
Somebody
Yeah.
asked me one day, is there any game that, like, when you're playing it, you wish you didn't have to review it or whatever? And Strangers is definitely one of the
Jesus.
closest. Where I remember walking into a
Damn.
room and it was just the tunnel box with no debris systems. You just room to room to room, and where your spirit is just chipped off like the healthier character. And I
Yeah.
remember occasionally not trying. That's an indicator to me that I'm in bad shape. So I would have to leave and come back because I didn't even care to live in that game. I was like, I would
Wow.
rather die.
Yeah.
That's how bad it
But
is.
however, it has the best scene in gaming history ever
What?
made. Yes, it's the one where this girl talks about lore for like half an hour and then he goes like, "Shut the fuck up."
Yeah,
Or
he
no, he
does
goes
that.
like bullshit and then plays Limp Bizkit and starts walking away.
Strangers is a
funny.
weird game. Super chat, Gemma 5404 $2. Thanks again for the twice weekly content. You bet. Spread the word too. I appreciate it. X Bear X $5 super chat. Walking the walk made me appreciate world building in games more. Every now and then, just walk around, looking at NPCs and little details. Let me tell you.
Oh, dude. Yeah,
Also-
sorry.
No, let me point out
Yeah.
what Abzy did to us.
What?
Abzy did exactly this. So we decided to all do these group streams in my Discord, and we're having a blast. You got like 12 people in there, and 11 will be streaming. Abzy comes in, turns off his mic and his headset like some kind of fucking, like, I don't know, like some paranoid freak, goes in there, doesn't listen to anybody, turns on Red Dead and proceeds to walk at a 1/4 mile an hour for 45 minutes. Now, I'm sitting there laughing, going, man, this game's beautiful. But people are like, what's wrong with Abzy, man? Is his joystick
Bro, I was
just pushed
kicking
forward?
rocks for like half an hour down the
were.
hill and watching them
And
collect.
not listening
so-
to anybody. He's like the guy who does a
Yeah.
stream where people are like,
I
good
was in
job.
my
And you're like,
zen mode.
I'm not even going to listen. Like, I'm doing my thing. That's what you.
Yeah.
I just love that you turned off everything. Nobody could even give you feedback. Like, look at that.
Because
cool
of a
thing.
cutscene, right? And then I just
think
didn't
that was
turn
a-
it back on. Yeah, I just
Yeah.
never turned it back on. But dude, I was talking about being appreciative. This is gonna sound very weird. I'm gonna sound like very like weird.
Perverty,
But
maybe?
yeah, no, what?
I said you're going to sound like a pervert or something?
No,
We're
no,
gonna
no,
talk-
no,
oh.
no. But like playing a lot of games, and like ray tracing and shit.
Yeah.
Like I don't know if this is gonna sound sad as fuck, but I think it's a cool thing, It made me like when I'm out and about in real life and I see like nice lighting and shit, I'm like, oh, this lighting looks really nice.
It looks ray traced, dude. The real world.
Yeah,
looks ray traced.
yeah. Seriously, outside, I'm like, oh shit, and I appreciate like small things like the shadow of a lamppost or something. You know what I mean?
Do you know
Yeah,
what?
It's crazy.
That would probably be an indicator games are art.
Yeah.
I mean,
And the
in
world
all
is art.
honesty, the world is art. Yeah. Even the
Yeah.
ugliest mofo like myself, buck naked, doing a Twitch stream to see if I can, smash the rules on the new stuff
Yeah.
they did for nudity. You got to be like, dude, that's art. It's art, man. He's got to be able to show his schwang. I think when you look at like ray tracing and stuff like that, I haven't had that, but I had it with VR. First day I
Yeah.
did VR, I did about 8 hours, puking everywhere, taking pills to not fucking vomit, but I was really enjoying myself. And then I took the VR off, and the real world was fake. And I know that that's a thing, but it lasted for about 3 hours, where everything felt not 3D enough in real life. And then
Oh,
it never
shit.
came back. It was that one single time, and I remember taking off the
That's
headset
crazy.
going, whoa. Did you have that, Asa, the first time you jumped into VR?
No, I've heard other people. I saw someone saying today actually they took their Quest 3 off for the first time and they felt like objects weren't heavy enough in the real world anymore, which made no sense to me. But
Right.
you use VR and you came out with super strength. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wouldn't you think
Maybe-
the opposite? Because nothing has weight in VR, so like,
That's what I
you
think
would think
he's
the
saying.
opposite.
Yeah.
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, I don't know, man. I just
Yeah.
know that when I took it off, I did, and I wasn't sick when I took it off. But everything, it was almost like I was trying to see the pixels in real life. Like I was like,
I had the one
Yeah.
time I played Payday 2 in VR with some friends that were playing it in pancake mode. And I got through the first level. I'm like you, I get the motion sickness quite badly, but I was just going like raw into it. Got through the first level fine. And I was like, oh, I feel a bit off, but I can do one more, which is a critical error. If you feel off, you don't do one more. Yeah. And I ended up in the middle of a Payday 2 round, like curled up in the fetal position on the floor. And the world was not right for a good 24 hours after that.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
And nobody believes me, but like, oh yeah, easily. The first time you get VR, it's in your bones, man. It's like you've been poisoned by the fake world, and it is way worse than car motion sickness, man. Because I get that.
Nuts.
It is way worse. But yeah, I definitely suggest people drug up before they play, because it definitely helps me. Boning or a motion sickness drug. The Darge Knight, $20 super chat. Don't worry, I'm not missing it. Good evening, fellas. Hope you all had a good Christmas, if you celebrate it. Great seeing Asa on the show. Very good and wise friend to mine. A very good and wise friend to mine. Do you know him?
Thank you, I do know Darge. Yeah, he's given me a hug once.
You've met him in real life? Or is this digital in VR?
Memorable time.
Just saying.
What'd you guys do? Did you guys like fuck shit up, or?
Yeah, did you like hug and then
we
you were like
EGX,
high five and shoot?
EGX in London, yeah.
Oh, is he from? Is he over there?
About half an hour. He spent a lot of money, didn't enjoy it, gave me a hug and went home.
Oh,
ouch. Hazador Gaming says, "Sup ACG and happy holidays." Thank you very much. Holidays, looking at the holiday greetings. Thank you everybody for. In fact, technically, it's still sort of the holiday for a lot of people here. Until like the first, a lot of people take the week off. That's why the news is sort of slow. They do the week off until New Year's. Do you guys celebrate New Year's?
Yeah.
Do you? What do you just like go drinking with friends, or do you?
Yeah, basically. But last year I just stayed at home, played video games.
We're
so
nerds,
that's what
man.
I did.
What,
actually,
Asa,
for 2 years. Actually, yeah, 2 years ago I also stayed, and COVID. Yeah, so it's been a while since I've done a New Year's thing. It's been since like 2020. No, 2020 is COVID. It's been since like the New Year of 2020. I haven't done much, but this year I might, but I also might not. Yeah.
You are really
no, not for me.
Not for you at all.
Only like a curry, takeaway curry. It's the most expensive night of the year to go out, and
and dangerous. A little bit more dangerous, drivers and stuff like that. You see, you get that morning
the outside
after.
World.
Yeah. I'm telling you, everybody, just don't go out ever. It's super dangerous out there. Take this. Wannabe Dev, Ron 50, whatever Ron is, I can't remember. Evening, gents. Awesome to see Asa back on the pod. Thank you very much, Wannabe. And I do appreciate you, Wannabe, and you guys who are streaming all the time. And it's been a huge mental something I did not realize. I don't even know if I needed it, but I definitely, when I get done talking to you guys in the big streams, I feel, I don't know if I would say better. Maybe I just look at these guys in stream and I go, man, my life isn't so bad if these are guys I'm hanging out with. I'm just joking. They're all just really cool, and it's a great time, and I definitely appreciate it. So I'm glad you're here to watch us live. Flip Cup 20, just wanted to say happy holidays. Thanks for everything that you and the crew do. Excited for 2024. That's what we're going to get to. 2024. So, do you guys think in 2024 we're going to see some major changes on the one thing I've been noticing in the last 3 weeks, which is the leaks and the negativity now? Because I've even seen it on podcasts where if somebody's, there's a lot of podcasts that like build themselves just on leaks. It's like, and I've seen, whether it be Reddit or my own Discord, I even have to jump in sometimes and be like, let's calm down a little bit. But there's this negativity towards not just leaks of personal information, but like the spoiler thing. Now, I told you guys I don't mind spoilers, but I do see a lot of people like starting to have this rebound. Do you guys think that's going to continue, or do you think it needs you do?
I think it's gonna keep going. I don't think it'll change, but I've been seeing a lot of like double standards and shit with that though. Like for example, with Insomniac, everyone was like, protect the devs,
and
poor devs,
Capcom,
blah, blah, and obviously
like,
poor devs.
Capcom, man.
And they're like, and then Rockstar, they were literally, I was literally like comparing the two, and the comments under Rockstar's was like, invest in better cybersecurity, little bitches. You know what I mean? Like, I swear to God. So it was insane. So I don't know if it's gonna be positive or negative towards leaks or leakers or devs or whatever, but it's it's gonna keep happening, I think.
What about you, Asa?
Like leaks and stuff in general.
It's not going to change. There's this ongoing one where Ubisoft have had a big breach recently. It's going to make a difference for that because the parallels are too big and too obvious and too similar, so people can't very easily take a different stance without really obviously being hypocrites. But as soon as that blows over, like any normal links, like leaks, anything that gets out any which way is going to be fair game for clout, as it always has been. And it's partly like the industry brings it on itself by being overly secretive in general.
Yeah.
There's no need for everything to be wrapped up quite as tight as it is. But no, I don't think it's going to change at all. The only distinction is whenever like employee details is going to be used as the kind of, what's the word that you used earlier when you were talking about piracy? Like a pretend reason.
Oh, yeah, the adjustment of morals for one thing and not for the other thing.
Yeah, they're going to hold that up and say, well, this one's got employee information, so we're going to tread very carefully, but everything else is going to be absolutely fair game, as it always has been.
Yeah, I think one thing will change, and I'm hearing little snippets, not a ton. It's not a leak podcast, but I have heard little things where some of the companies are looking towards being more transparent with the initial announcement so that leakers don't get it first. So instead of Blade being just shown and announced at that Game Awards, you might just see somebody say, we're working on a Blade game.
In that sense, for sure.
Yeah. No, not just in that sense. I wasn't trying to trap you guys and then add something. I'm saying as a whole, as the whole discussion, I do see some companies changing. But I'm going to say, at least from what I'm hearing from my people and stuff, there is definitely, and even Reddit and other places, ignoring the personal stuff, which everybody hates. I am actually seeing a very hard pushback towards just focusing on leaks, like just at some, like, and I don't know if that's something where they say it and will then, like we said, you know, pretend that's, you know, a moral stand and they're still listening to the podcasts behind the scenes or what have you. But even, I mean, there's been a lot of people who are like, listen, man, it's just, those leaks aren't even real. Like, that's the other thing. Oh, this is happening for sure. And then 2 days later, it'll be like, no, I was just saying maybe. And you're like, dude, that's not what you said. You literally said for sure. And now you're saying maybe. And so I just think that a lot of us know that 90% of these leaks turn out to not be real or they're messed up. We saw a lot of stuff for the Rockstar thing. Yeah, I don't know, man. I guess that's the one time where I'll say I hope humanity's a little better, but I'll be wrong. That'll be the one time this year where I'll be positive towards humanity. I'll just stick with that. I hope it gets better. Man, in the hacking of people, I don't know about Rockstar, but I know Capcom had some personal data, and I definitely saw the huge discrepancy. And people, I mean, let's be honest, I've done it. So I'm not saying...
Done what?
But the covering of your ass. Oh, the covering of people for inside. Oh, well, blah, blah, blah. We're not going to cover this. And people were like, what, you covered it last time? Yeah. Oh, well, that was slight. And you're like, listen, if it's personal, it's personal. That was out. You did. Yeah. And you get that kind of thing. Maybe it'll correct a little bit of that. You know, maybe it'll make a little bit better baseline, I guess. I don't know. But
there's just never ever a consistency. I feel like it's all like virtue signaling. You know what I mean? Like a lot of the shit.
A lot of it is. A lot of it is, unfortunately. And then it's not only that, it's like hacking of everything, dude. Comcast got hacked. Our Discord got hacked day before yesterday. One of our people separate from our hack also got hacked. So we got hacked in dual time, where it was hard to figure out how the hack happened. And then we found out it wasn't connected at all. And it's just
Speaking of hacking, there's an MMO where it's just you're hacking each other. That's pretty insane. Like it's like an MMO, but very accurate. Like very accurate hacking. Like it teaches you how to hack the Wi-Fi and then like hack each other and stuff like that. But not like teaches you too much. You still gotta be like have some knowledge, but it's actually pretty decent.
You know, that's probably
white hat
probably
hackers,
written by ransomware guys who are like hoping you'll use your password in the game that you used on your own Wi-Fi, right? Because people are that dumb. We were talking about hacking, or we were talking about people with dumb passwords at my old job when they had them on Post-it notes, right? Which you see. So we're like, okay, no Post-it notes on your fucking computer of your password. So no lie, I go in the next day, there's a Post-it note over a Post-it note. And the top Post-it note said, lunch at 11. You tear that off, password. It was literally just, it wasn't even a lunch at 11. The person wasn't there the next day. It was just.
That's such a plot device in movies, you know? It's like, I don't believe it happens in real life, dude.
Everything that prior to working nonprofit, when I was working commercial, we would hear horror stories and I'd be like, nah, it's not possible. not possible. No business can run that way. And then I worked at that nonprofit, and I was like, oh, this does happen, or you get the people who are, doctorates who don't have common sense, but they've got that amazing ability to write and train people and teach people, and then they flood a floor because they don't understand how garbage disposal works. Yep. Sort of dumbass password. You're just writing your passwords in my chat. Good job, guys. Let's just absolutely throw sec to the wind. But for 2024, is there anything you guys are looking forward to? Any amazing stuff? Any tech you want to see?
Yes.
Go for it.
Well, tech wise, I'm so curious about the Switch 2. I want to see the Switch 2. I want to see what they're cooking.
Yeah, that's true.
Games wise, Dragon's Dogma 2, Stalker 2. Dragon's Dogma 2 and Stalker 2 are like on an echelon above everything else.
Yeah.
So Dragon's Dogma 2 and Stalker 2 are up here, and then there's right under it Infinite Wealth, and then under it Rebirth, and then under
Rebirth?
it a bunch of
Final Fantasy.
Final Fantasy.
Final Fantasy
Yeah.
7.
I don't know why I have such a problem with that. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, that's true.
Oh,
What
and the
about-
Fallout TV show. Fallout TV show. I'm very,
true.
very
I'm excited
for.
tentatively excited for that.
Yeah.
We-
I'm like an 8, or because
Ooh,
I just
an 8.
hope because I know the director. Okay, Westworld season 1 was awesome. Everything after that was complete trash. I really hope it's more Westworld season 1 than the trash part. Yeah.
That's fair. What about you, Asa? Anything?
I've got like echelons as well, where I've got Dragon's Dogma 2 right at the top. I think that's probably going to be the best game next year. Like, there's obviously chance of surprises, but that's right up there. But the game that I have to play next year is Rebirth 2, because I'm already invested in it. So most looking forward to is Dragon's Dogma 2, but most definitely have to play is Rebirth. And underneath that, you've got like Avowed and things like that. There's tons of stuff coming next year. Switch 2 is the only interesting hardware that I know about. But
Dude, are you preparing for Rebirth? Like, did you play what the fuck was the prologue Zack one? But I couldn't get into it that much. It's the smaller game remake.
prologue to what, sorry?
I don't
The
know what that
prologue
is.
to
Crisis
to
Core.
Crisis Core. Yeah, I tried to get into that, but
Did you try?
No,
Crisis
it's
Core?
on my list to get to. I want to remake. I've not done the Intergrade content either. So I played it when it
that
came
shit's
out
good.
on the PS4 Pro. I
that
need to
shit's
play
fun.
Intergrade. I need to play Crisis Core.
Yeah, Yuffie's fun, man. I'm telling you.
So
I got a couple of months, haven't I?
my
Yeah,
hopes for
yeah.
2024 are I cannot wait for Apple's piece of shit VR
The
to come out at 4K.
$3,000.
I cannot wait,
$4,000.
man. I want to get one. I'm not gonna get one. Like that's
Yeah.
ridiculous. Unless it's like, like full on Japanese sex machines and shit. There's no way I'm spending $3K for a headset. But I want to see it because I know Apple will push the boundaries on some stuff, and then also some stuff they'll pretend is brand new. Like they'll be like, "Hey man, VR, it's got speakers. Look at our brand new speakers. No one's ever done." It's like Sony and Apple both love to pretend that their stuff's brand new. They'll be like, USB-C. No one's done this before. We're adding USB-C. So I want to see it just for the hilarity and the cost, and if they do push something, because I think they will. I think something will be cool about it. I don't know what that cool thing will be. They've always got something. I mean, I like the iMac, all in one PC. I like the idea. When, like you first see an iMac, it's just on a stand, and it's, once you use it, it's trash. But it's like, I like the form factor. So I'm excited to see that. And then Dragon's Dogma. Go ahead.
Do you think the Vision Pro, like Apple will not mention VR at all, and it's not got any controllers or anything like that, but do you think it's going to have any impact on VR specifically?
No, I'm much more interested in how they handle the look and what they're trying to do with AR, but it is not a VR system like you and I are accustomed to at all.
I see it.
Yeah, for gaming specifically. Sorry, Abzi, what were you saying?
No, I see it maybe impacting, stuff like construction or architecture or something
Doctors,
in like
like
something in work. I feel like it's going to be mostly business facing.
That's the thing about Apple is sometimes they make a niche out of nothing because it's Apple. So that will be interesting to see. Like, are people just going to use it as a flat screen replacement at their desk, and that somehow becomes huge?
Well, because I see like a lot of people. I don't know about you guys, but in my company, like a lot of the people I work with, they're not a lot, but some of them just it's like they have an Apple laptop that costs like twice as much as an equivalent, or three times as much as an equivalent Windows, and it's just because it's Apple. Like there's no real, it's just a thing there. Yeah, they just like Apple. I feel like a lot of business people.
I'm
just like
excited to
Apple.
see it. I mean, I think that'd be, it probably won't push anything, but they do have a tendency sometimes where they do push something and then people like the idea and you sort of get a knock-on effect. And I would love to see VR take off. It's not gonna. VR's in terrible state right now. I mean, Sony forgot they have VR. Sony forgot they had Portal, and I told people that they were going to do that. I got so much shit. And I'm like, listen, man.
Oh, yeah, I forgot about Portal.
Yeah, exactly. And so they could have been the big push. So I'm really excited to see. It's going to take. So if you consider VR is not a platform like we expect, it's not a normal platform. So back in the day when they were all coming up, that would have been the best time. Have a bunch of big games and you push VR forward. It can never happen again because they're all at these staggered releases. But Apple might be able to say, here's what AR might be able to do. And I think AR and VR is not going to take off like AR probably will. But AR is less interesting to me than VR, and they're connected. So I'm excited to see the AR stuff. I've played a couple AR games that are sort of fun.
Yeah, I feel like for AR to take off, though, you need way better form factor than like a massive headset or a big headset.
You need goggles. Right? You need swimmers goggles, like Olympic swimmers goggles.
Yeah.
Because the Nreal glasses, which I have, are tight FOV, but the idea is there already. You're like, all right, they've already got the general idea of what we need. But or like you say all the time, Abzy, they'll just be beaming laser beams from some giant box.
into the dude. Imagine this, like it's like Ready Player One, where you put the glasses on and they beam the lasers into your retina.
Can you imagine have a QRC code burned into your eye like an OLED though? Like
Hell
that's
yeah, dude. Or contact lenses.
A HUD. Can you imagine like turning it off, walking around? You got the Halo HUD slightly burned into the lower part of your retina,
like artifacting, like you're artifacting IRL, or contact lenses.
Yeah, as somebody who's had cataract surgery, the idea of putting something else in my eye is probably zero.
Oh, shit.
But like my wife can't do contacts because touching her eye is like the exact opposite of what she ever wants to do. Putting a contact in is rough for a lot of people.
Yeah,
I put myself top of the waiting list for the lasers and the brain implants and everything.
Yeah,
that's what brain implants.
I think it's a Santa to make it official.
Yes. Brain implants, I'm there, dude. The prototype, I will wear it.
Dude, I've seen Elysium. I know what it looks like when you get those implants in. I don't want it.
Oh man,
or
the Matrix,
Yeah. Well, have you seen Elysium with Matt Damon?
Yeah.
Where it's like, it's all infected.
Exoskeleton shit.
Thanks, man. Plug it in. You're like, I got an itch back there. They put, oh shit, man, you got a high fever.
Or just surgically put in like the neural net thing. Or,
Well, that'll happen someday, probably. They're going to start with, we already got pacemakers. It's not that crazy when you look at, we've already start stents for heart attacks. They go in and put a stent in. So it's like, we're sort of there already with some ideas of how to get them in. Yeah, but the idea of taking a pill to make sure my immune system doesn't attack my own brain is a little daunting.
It's crazier.
Like, is that worth it for VR? Well, if there's a Half-Life 4, maybe it is. Like, if they were like Half-Life 4 with Neuralink and you may die, people would be like, nah, let's go for it.
Maybe,
we'll give it a try. The HUD in VR could be triggered by eye tracking to prevent OLED burn-in. See, here we go. They're already worried about that. They could. You are right. I think eye tracking, by the way, is the huge gap that we just saw filled this last gen. Eye tracking is huge for resolution. It's huge for 3D effect. It's huge for a bunch of stuff. And the more eye tracking we can get, the better. I think
or catching streamers looking at.
Oh my God! Track where your eyes are during pictures. They flash a pretty picture up, and you see that. Have you ever seen this YouTube shorts where somebody talks to a pretty girl and they look like a deer in headlights because they don't want to look down?
I'm trying not to look down.
They can't talk because they've lost all ability to think. People in chat, are you looking forward to any tech or any games? A lot of people are saying Dragon's Dogma. A lot of people saying Metro.
For that fucking game, dude.
Metro. Apple Vision will sell out. Yeah, Apple Vision will sell. I mean, come on. Has Apple ever not sold out a new product? I don't think they have in years.
No.
Right? They're not allowed to sell.
Or they just make 10. Sold out. We sold out. We've seen that before. Let's see. Insomniac is friends with journalists. Oh, yeah. Yeah, we were talking about that earlier. Facts about Westworld. Oh, this is back on the Westworld stuff where Absy was bitching about Westworld. Are you saying Westworld, all the seasons but one were bad?
Yeah, in my opinion, yeah. See, once it got to season 2, it took a nosedive. Like they were trying too hard to make it like, ooh, you know what I mean? But the first one was naturally just like good and mysterious,
I'm gonna
and then
have
the
to
second
ask
one
you
is like
what
forced.
means, because you said you know
It's
what I
like
mean,
it's
and
like
I'm like, I do not know what he means.
it's like pseudo intellectual shit. You know how that
pinky
kind
up
of stuff
shit?
where, like, yeah, pinky up, but like not naturally, just like pinky up, like forcefully,
Pseudo
like hey, look at
intellectualism.
us.
Yeah.
Like we're trying to be the script, you know what I mean?
Like
And it
maybe
was
the
all like,
Halo
oh,
director saying, I'm
what?
happy I didn't watch Halo or play
Where
Halo
am
my
I?
entire life.
Where is this?
Yeah.
Oh, you know what I mean? But season 1 was like just naturally really good. Yeah.
Dude, Fallout 4 from the trailers, and I always say don't care about the trailers, but the trailers look pretty good for Fallout 4.
Yeah,
it's Fallout,
I
Fallout
like
TV show.
They seem to have captured that like tone, you know what I mean, with the music and just the killing and the comedy and the, you know.
Can I ask, does this might be it is a nitpick, but I think it's it might not be a real nitpick. It feels like it's real. That trailer, the only thing that bothered me is her suit was never dirty. And I know that sounds really dumb,
No,
but she walks around with a neon blue suit after fighting dragons and dogs, and she stands up and it's that pristine, like it's still shiny new kid. And this is going to sound weird, but it feel like she wasn't in the world, if that makes sense. Like I need a little debris or blood on a character. I think there was some issue there, but I think that's just because they want to. That's such a big thing to Fallout is the suit.
Yeah. For me, it's a power armor. Like I wasn't like a huge fan of the power armor CGI.
And real, right? Sometimes, because it looked good sometimes and looked a little off sometimes. Yeah. This power armor. How tall are like when a person puts in power armor? I thought they were pretty big. Because in Fallout 4, when I put it on, I felt like I was towering over people.
Yeah,
that
Fallout
just
3
like
it was
they got
just
a
like
tall
armor,
guy.
right?
Yeah,
and 3 it was. Then 4 it was like, oh, you could feel it.
Yeah. It's, and you know, if you see some games or movies, you always wonder, are they putting their arms in the arms? Because if they are and they get their arm broken, you know, they're screwed. Or you get the guy who's in the suit like a mech. That's how I usually describe the two. Power armor is where it's armor. Your hands are in the gauntlets and it's your size.
Like halfway in.
Yeah. Or a mech where you're controlling it with knobs and stuff like that. So, the power armor looks cool. Bitlerus says everything's very clean, like the 24-hour rented everything and need to return it pristine. Yeah, that's during the trailer.
Some cleanness. Yeah, there's some cleanness to it.
What would you guys see? What would hit it for you guys for a Fallout show? What would make it, like, let's say they did hit the acting, which for the most part I think they're going to hit, but is there some particular thing that screams Fallout that they need to hit? Like,
I think with Fallout for me is it's quite different when you have like a Last of Us TV series, then you're very directly. It's a direct parallel to the game, like beat for beat in that particular case.
Right.
When you've got Halo, when you want to retell it, you've still got a very distinct source material that you're going to follow, and you're going to either upset fans or you're going to please them. With Fallout, it's almost a blank slate. Like it's a world, but it is a world, so they can tell their own stories and do their own things, which means it's got the potential to be brilliant or terrible, depending on how good the writers are, with very little bearing on the fact that it's using the Fallout IP, to me.
Yeah. Do you want...
I think of it...
Oh, I just want to ask real quick then. So would you want them to do... So I don't know when this is compared to the movie or the games. I don't know the timeline, like parallel timeline. But would you want them to like hint at the games? Or would you rather have them like hint at the character doing stuff in the game? Like I heard about this character who launched a Fat Boy or whatever it's called. Or would you rather have them completely separate from the games, not mention them, not go to the same places, and just be its own thing?
I don't know. They're gonna try and parallel some of it with Fallout 76, I would think, because they've got their live service running alongside it. So possibly some crossover events there, but more so for the Fallout 76 fans to reference the show rather than going the other way around.
Yeah, that's true. Abzi, sorry I did interrupt you when I was asking.
No, it's all good. I think what's just the most important thing for me is just not to take themselves too seriously and to kind of be self-aware. And you know, have it be a little bit lighthearted, but also the most important, what I hope they don't cut back on is the edginess and like darkness in the comedy. Like dark comedy is very, very important here, I think, and like gruesomeness for sure has to be there.
I don't think this will happen. I think it would be cool if they did. I don't know how you'd do it without pissing everybody off, but I still think it would be cool if they tried and to that somehow have Chandler, a Friends actor, somehow even if they just say in memory of or something like that. What's his name?
Matthew Perry.
Matthew Perry.
Yeah, Matthew Perry.
And then Paul Hogan, not Paul Hogan. That's fucking Crocodile Dundee. Michael Hogan, who was in there as well, unfortunately fell during a meet and greet for Mass Effect and had multiple strokes, and he's bedridden now. So I would like to, if there was maybe a way that they could sort of call to those guys, because it is a show, it's a big deal. It'd be nice, especially because I fund his GoFund, and it's not necessarily huge for his issues. If you guys get a chance and you like him from Battlestar as well, you should check out his GoFundMe. But yeah, man, I'm excited for it. I mean, it looks good, and it's got Boyd Crowder from Justified. What's his name? The main actor, the ghoul.
The Quentin Tarantino guy. He's in every Quentin Tarantino movie. Ever.
What?
Most of them.
The Boyd Crowder actor is? I was not aware of that.
Yeah. He's always a bad guy.
Yeah, he looked cool, and when he shot the shotgun, blew a guy up into bloody mist, I was like, okay, that fits with the game. Like, they seemed like they were aiming well.
I want to see, maybe, I think they will hit on this, but I want to see how, like, vault dwellers adjust to life outside of the vault.
Right.
So I think we will see that, right? Because they are vault dwellers.
Yeah.
That's
do you know, I gotta admit, I think we all know that this was a copy, but when I played Outer Worlds, that's one of the reasons why I liked Outer Worlds, because it was a vault but in space, and you get saved and you go out to do your spaceship shit.
Yeah.
But it's like really Fallout in space, which I admit I loved. I thought that was one of the better like, it felt good, and it's like, oh, you got to save these other people who are in the vault. I sort of dig that, but yeah, it'll be cool. It'll be cool to see. Old Boy says, why the Friends guy? Is he related to Fallout? Yes, he is.
Yeah.
Walter Goggins is the actor I'm talking about. Thank you very much, Walter Goggins, man. And he is a good actor. I'm really excited to see him in something.
Would you hate it or like it if they have like an Easter egg, like Preston's, go back to? You love it, right? Yeah.
Okay, I'd love it. I think when you do it well, that's the magic, because you're not focused on it. You're not like, let's use the IP to just rip off everything and not worry about writing. But if somebody randomly says something as you walk by, like that to me would be it just a bit. You don't need to do
a smile on your face. Like
Yep. But I guess some people would say they're doing that already with the entire thing. I don't know. Is there any other shows for games coming? I mean, Halo 2, we're going to pretend that doesn't exist. Halo Season 2 is coming out. They can die. But is there any other video game shows or movies or cartoons we know of coming out? Is there another Final Fantasy anime in the works? Or
the only ones I really liked were Castlevania and...
that was good, yeah.
And Edge Runners. And I heard Twisted Metal was really good. I haven't seen it yet.
Twisted Metal was good enough for Mackie to take over half of the Game Awards to talk. So it must have been good.
Yeah, true.
What was he doing? Hey.
Oh,
is that on him? Thing. Or yeah. It was like he took some pink cocaine.
Did you like The Last of Us TV series?
I thought it was okay. Yeah.
I haven't seen it. I watched the first episode. The thing about The Last of Us, what interests me more, as I said before, I don't like The Last of Us is already like a movie game, right? It's already filled with cutscenes. It's already like a story. It's more interesting to me when they take a world and tell their own story in it, or something. You know what I mean? That's more interesting to me. But yeah, no, I haven't. I'll give it a watch. I heard a lot of good things. Someday I'll give it a watch. Yeah.
Did you watch it?
It starts really well, like stronger than the game, and you start thinking, hey, this actually maybe The Last of Us suited this medium better than the gaming medium,
maybe. Yeah.
But because it is a 10-part series rather than a game, it didn't build relationships as well as the game does. So by the end of it, I was like, no, the game was better than a TV series. That kind of swapped about, I don't know, 7 or 8 episodes in, switch around on which one was doing it better.
We talk about this all the time, but the big difference in gaming too is, like, let's say in the show, because Anna Torv is like one of my favorite actresses. She's in it. That's why I watched it. Because I do like the other actors, but they don't, like, I don't follow their stuff. And in a game, you can save that character during a battle a couple times, let's say, and you have the inborn memory of, oh, I saved this character. I saved. And then in the show, they just have the show. There's no interaction, and so I could see it being hard to sell it after a while because they don't build them.
It had to be really on the nose, didn't it? Like when you have the whole Joel and Ellie thing, they're like, we are progressing our friendship now. Right. It's as blatant as that as it goes.
And in the game, I actually felt sometimes it was a little forced. Sometimes I'm like, dude, could you guys move on? Like, why are we, there's zombies after you. It's like Mass Effect for the sex. You're like, seriously, nobody's banging. We got to save the world from Reapers. And they're like, hang on one second. Let's have a drink and maybe, exchange bodily
smoke
fluids.
some weed and fuck.
Witcher animated seasons.
I heard that was
says
good.
Witcher animated season. I didn't know anything about it. I mean, heard of it.
Yeah. The Vesemir story or whatever. I heard the animated series is better. I think it's the same Castlevania people who made it. I could be wrong. But they also made Dragon's Dogma, which was bad, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Dragon's Dogma. I don't want to admit it because I like Dragon's Dogma. It was pretty bad. But on the other hand, I like the Blade Runner anime, and Reg wouldn't shut up. He was just hammering me for
Edge
liking
Runners?
it.
The Cyberpunk?
Blade Runner from the movie.
Blade
so
Runner
you got
anime?
movie, and there's an anime on Netflix. And I personally thought it was really enjoyable, and I mentioned it in our Discord, and I didn't live it down. So I don't know if, I don't know if I don't see enough anime to know what's good or not.
Right.
I mean, I call them all cartoons anyway, but you get my drift. Like,
cartoons.
Edge Runners was good. Edge Runners was, I mean.
Oh, Devil May Cry anime. I'm looking forward to that. There was an old Devil May Cry anime, but I'm excited to see what they do with the new one.
And there's a new Castlevania one coming, right?
Yeah, I don't know what the fuck, like the new Castlevania show. I don't like the writing there. I think so, yeah.
Dude,
yeah,
Netflix, it's interesting when you look at where Netflix is like, some of their original stuff is really good. Some of their, the animes all seem to be good. It's like, I guess what I never expected from Netflix. They
never watched like a live action rendition of an anime. That's like a no-no. Always.
Say that again? What do you mean? Like where they take the cartoon and turn it into a movie?
Yeah, it's always bad. I don't know of any good ones. Like I tried to watch Full Metal Alchemist, Death Note, all of them.
What about
sucked.
One Punch or Sucker Punch or whatever the fuck that was that came out?
I'm sure it's better as an anime. I'm sure it's better as an anime.
I heard good stuff about it.
The movie?
Live action? The TV show on Netflix. Isn't it One Punch?
Oh, the TV show. One Punch Man is awesome. Yeah, it's funny. It's comedy.
You've seen that?
It's usually people's first foray into anime, that or
One Piece. Thank you. I keep calling it One Punch.
Oh, One Piece. One Piece.
One Punch, One Piece, whatever. It's one.
Yeah, I might because One Piece, the anime itself is very intimidating to get into. It's fucking 2,000, 6,000 episodes or something. So maybe the TV
is that intimidating or is that the greatest thing? To me, that's exciting, man. Because I watch those shows that are out after 3 seasons and you're like, oh man, that's
I wish it could get
yeah. So when somebody says there's 100, like the one book series I'm reading, there's 154 books, and when I mention it in Discord I can hear the groans of oh, and I'm like, no, you don't understand, that's the greatest thing in the world to me. I love that.
I think it's because a lot of us
Go ahead. No, go ahead.
Oh, so it confirms that it must have some quality to be worth carrying on, right? But I definitely
maybe
through them and go, 1,000 episodes. I'm gonna die before the end of that. So let's pick a 2 or 3 seasoner.
yeah, exactly. Maybe I'm going a little too big on mine, but yeah, go ahead, Abzy. What you're saying? I'm sorry.
I think because everyone's hardwired to think about finishing stuff versus watching or being in stuff, right?
Agreed.
You know what
It's
I mean?
the achievements of Netflix,
finish.
man.
Yeah. It's like, oh shit, there's 200 trophies in this. I gotta get you know what I mean?
Yeah. I'm doing a video on it right now, which is going to be loved because I hammer the shit out of achievements and platforms. Let's see. The art style's not for everybody. Yeah, everything's not for everybody. Otherwise, it'd be a weird world. One of the best shows for character development is Game of Thrones. That is true. For the most part.
I hate that fucking show, dude. I love that show.
I tried to get it out, people. I said for the most part, and I was trying to move on, and I heard Abzy.
Oh my god.
I saw movement.
Oh my god. It was such a good show, and then I hate that fucking show. It was such a good show. God damn it.
I mean, you don't have to hold back.
Dude, they ruined the ever-living shit out of that show, dude. It's like the writing took a massive dump on everyone's faces and made me eat the dump that came out of the director's bumholes, you know what I mean? I hated what the hell they did to it. It's fucking crazy. What the hell is wrong with these people, dude? They've been fucking writing the show for 7-8 years, and then at the end they squander it with the stupidest character writing I've ever seen in my life. What the fuck was that? Sorry.
Beautiful.
that's a lot. So with Game of Thrones, I would just say this. I watched a couple seasons, and those couple seasons were okay. And so I wasn't super invested. But it's a little like Lost, where I got to the end and I wasn't super. I mean, I didn't hate it. I wasn't super invested, so the ending didn't bother me. But I do believe there's a huge difference between one bad episode at the end of Lost, even though it's the ending, and then an entire season, which, as you stated, well, whatever you stated, all of what you stated occurred.
It's that range of emotion that you can only get from Game of Thrones and Mass Effect 3.
Yeah. Oh my shit. God, Mass Effect 3, that's mine. Let's just not go there. We're moving on. But it is true. Yeah, I get where you're coming from, man. When you invest, you invest your time in something, you want it to, whether it be an ending or whether it be the entire game in a series. It's happened before, where you get a game in a series and you're like, what are these guys doing with this?
And then you just start hating everything ever.
Yeah. See, and that's the thing is like, it's easy to hate everything ever, but it's like if there's so much stuff, I usually try to jump as quick as possible to something I like. So it's like, I can be like, yeah, that wasn't what I loved, but it's like, let's bump over here because otherwise
something good.
Well, it's the old digital game on Xbox, 1 versus 100, and that's what I feel like. If you hate something, is that there's so many bad things, it can be really easy to be crushed by it. So it's like I jump as quick as possible.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Because it's like, yeah, that sucked. Let's watch something I like.
People are still talking about Starfield. It's been months. You know what I mean?
Oh, dude, we're gonna talk about that.
People are still talking about it.
We'll talk about
that.
Dude. Yeah. The best thing about like Discord is I'll be like, you'll have the same person say, man, this Discord's great. Everybody, if you dislike a game, you can say it. If you like a game, you can say it. We can move on. We can talk about the stuff we like. Hey, guess what someone else in a very shitty Reddit said about Starfield? Let's bring it in. And I'm like, would you quit bringing in the Reddit posts, man? Just leave them out. Leave them out. We don't need to see it. We get it, ACG, when watching shows, does it make the entire show worth it if it ends badly? Yeah, dude. Other than a game, which is interactive. That's why Mass Effect 3 bothered me so much. Because I had a choice, and my choices, they solidly did not matter. With a show, I will watch a show that has a bad ending. Absolutely. It can happen. It's just that it sucks sometimes. Mass Effect 3 was all right. It's about the journey, not the destination. No, I truly don't believe that with games, because if the destination fucks up your journey or your memories of the journey, then you think it's all a lie. And that's what happened with Mass Effect 3, is I felt like everything I had done was a lie, and then that ruined, my overall.
What made it worse is that the trilogy is connected, right? So you're going through one character through the trilogy, so it makes your whole journey in 3 games meaningless, not just the one game.
I will tell you, dude, like there's few times in gaming, I probably was too young to remember Final Fantasy, so I wasn't super into Final Fantasy, so I didn't get that moment. But for me, Mass Effect was like the Flash Gordon, high synth, romantic sci-fi, even though it was darker. It was like, it's courageous. It wasn't all in the emo shit that we get now, where it's like everybody's like, let me explain why the bad guy has a reason. I'm like, nah, he's a fucking bad guy. He doesn't need a reason. He's the bad guy, dude. He's a genocidal maniac. That's fine. I don't need to hear his life story. I don't care. If his mother was there that beat him, I'd kill his mother too. Like, they're a bad guy. I don't give a shit. But it's like, it was that one time, and so I did do what you said. I got invested in that too much, where when the ending hit, my tag is still, I believe on Xbox, says, thanks, BioWare, for the Mass Effect 3 ending. And I think it's still that. Moving on from there, let's talk about good shit. Well, that was good stuff. Best multiplayer. I want to talk about this. So 2023 had more multiplayers than I remember. I looked this list up, and these are just some. Remnant 2, Outlast Trials, which I know Outlast Trials hit really hard, at least from like the data I got from our Discord and then some of the other stuff. Forza, Street Fighter. Street Fighter was awesome. For all intents and purposes, I'm hearing that game was great. Super Mario Wonder, which was fantastic, even though it's not really multiplayer as in the way that I think some people are thinking. Diablo 4, Mortal Kombat 1, it's on there. But it's on there. I don't think that game's very good. And then the finals, and Lethal Company.
Street Fighter 6.
Street Fighter 6, yeah. I got that on there. Is there any other multiplayer that I mean, I'm sure I've missed some. Those are the big ones I remember. And I actually think this year was sort of cool. Like, Remnant 2 is probably one of the best multiplayer games I've played in years. Yeah. Have you done that, Asa? Real quick, I just want to ask, have you played that?
Not multiplayer. I played a tiny bit of it alone. and gave up because these bastard angel guys kept killing me. So
Yeah.
I'm intending to. It's on my list.
It's much easier co-op for sure.
Yeah, I mean, even if the difficulty's doubled or whatever, it's still easier because somebody's there to pull you out
To
of the fire.
revive you and stuff.
What were you going to say,
Yeah.
Abzi, about Remnant 2?
The thing with Remnant 2 was that for the longest time we didn't get like much co-op experiences outside of a few, AA and other games. Like we didn't get like the most co-op or PvE we've gotten aside from like BG3 and stuff, just like a good old school kind of co-op game. We've just been getting live service games and stuff, like if you want to play a looter shooter and stuff with your friends, right? So Remnant 2 came and it's not a live service, and you actually just the feeling of going around exploring with your friend, like you sitting down through cutscenes and stuff brings me back, and it's nice to have a game like that that we don't get it often.
Also, I believe that one of the best parts about Remnant 2 is it doesn't have the added genre mix that we're getting now. It's every game's the mutt of gaming. You can't have any purebreds, right? It's like, oh no, we can't do a golden retriever of gaming because how dare we not have these 5 fucking other elements? And what was great about Remnant? No roguelike shit. It wasn't that. It wasn't like you lose your shit, or you could, that could happen, but what I mean is like at the end or anything, it didn't just reset stuff. It was like you can upgrade as normal. You can do this as normal. It's multiplayer worked. Signed in, talked to people, played. Never had any issues with that. It just, as Todd would say, worked. And I think that's like the best part of that game. And it improved everything on the original, I think.
Everything. I mean, the first one wasn't that memorable to me. The second one, I can tell you, like a lot of the story beats, a lot of the bosses, a lot of the, environments and stuff. From because each region had like 2 main story paths aside from like the other proc gen stuff. And I can like a lot of it was very memorable and impactful, and the bosses, some of the best boss design. You know what I mean? Some of the best boss design I've seen. All but one. That little piece
one
of
boss
shit.
can suck it. I don't know what they were thinking. It's almost like that boss is from the first game. It's just broken. Sucks, but all the bosses are good. Yeah.
Just that poison puddle stuff was just AIDS.
And your fucking AI for your dog who couldn't figure out what to do and would try to save you and die.
Oh, the dog
then
is
you have
stupid.
to listen to the dog die. It's like, and you're like, oh, I'm dying, you're dying, everybody's dying. I don't want to do this, boss. Like, it just didn't play well. But yeah, the shooting's good. What about the
secret
finals
stuff?
Oh yeah, dude. There's so much Remnants, like almost in a way like Alan Wake, in that.
Do you know there's a class that was designed to be data mined because there was no way you can tell.
No,
like,
but I wouldn't
other
doubt
than
it.
data mining.
I mean, the one where he shoots the clogged up drain, and you have to wait 45 minutes for the room to fill.
90 minutes.
90 minutes. Yeah. Like, first of all, I love that a player was plinking around in Remnant and was like, you know what, I wanted to be a plumber, so I'm going to clean out all the pipes. And then, it's slightly filling. 90 minutes means he would have had to wait until he saw the incremental raise. Otherwise, why would he wait? And then he's like, it went up a little bit. I'm just going to walk away, occasionally move the controller so it doesn't say, did you leave? Like Netflix, are you still watching? You're like, yeah, a fucking long show. I'm still watching, dickhead. And then you're just sitting there and it raises up. And then the other one was like, you get kidnapped by somebody, then you have to talk to him, say a certain thing. And then I can't remember if you kill him afterwards and you get you take out their tooth bone or something. I don't know. And you use it as a weapon. It's awesome, man. Remnant 2 like aces it. But I want to bring
that stuff is always really cool. But anyways, sorry.
No, I just want to bring up the finals. For a free-to-play game, Asa, you're not a big shooter fan, I'm assuming. Like, you're not leaping into every...
No, I like shooting games, but I'm very specific in my tastes. Because I can't pass things when they're like Call of Duty and everyone's wearing camouflage. So the majority of shooting games, I'm like, there's a guy, wonder whose team they're on, I'm dead.
Yeah, right, yeah. I don't even get that far. But the finals, man, for a free-to-play game, holy shit. Destruction is where it's at, man. Like, that game doesn't have even a lot of content, but I've been watching people meta the meta on top of the meta, and then they meta that, and then somebody figures out something, they meta that, and it's layers on layers, and I've been watching the people in our chat play it, and it has been one of the most enjoyable games. I jumped in, won all 3 of my matches, only did 3, but I won all 3, and I was like, and that's not a brag, what I'm saying is I felt like it wasn't Call of Duty. There was a long enough there's something about the way it shoots and the way people move and the requirement of using everything in your inventory. It's very specific. There's nothing in your inventory that isn't usable in a life or death situation. And they nailed that. And I'm sure they'll put more content in, but at least for right now. I mean, I know people have 200 hours in it already. Just like staying up all night.
Such a nice breath of fresh air when like almost every multiplayer game coming out is kind of the same PvP stuff, either Counter-Strike or COD or whatever. And this one just took fucking Bad Company and brought it to the modern world. And I love that. It's really cool.
Dude, I was watching game dev play, and I think I said this last podcast, but he had learned if you just grab the explosive and leap up and just throw it, sometimes, you'll get that random kill. And I watched him win multiple times because he got that random kill. Like it was so great to watch. It was like boom, and then blowing the floor out from under people if they're above you or below you. It was just. And what's even weird is the destruction. People don't get caught up. You know how in destruction a lot of games. This is why they don't, by the way, add it to a bunch of games. Is because it's easy to get collision detection issues, and your character's stuck. You're just being shot in the face, and you're like, well, that wasn't fun. I'm not using that. In this, I was watching them for hours and nobody was getting stuck. It's like the way it falls or whatever almost like pushes the player out. I'm sure somebody's got stuck. Somebody in chat is going to be like, I've seen a ton of people get stuck. I just mean less than the normal amount. And the control looks like Mirror's Edge a little bit, which I think helps.
Yeah.
Got that. What's that? What's that graphic style?
Very simple style. Like it looks esports ready. You know what I mean? Very tight, simple.
What's the art style? What's it? What is that? Like pseudo future, glassy? Like glass smooth, everything's got that
minimal-ish.
Like, yeah, maybe so. Because it looks like Mirror's Edge to me in a lot of ways.
Yeah.
And the art design,
no, I can see that.
The bold like white with a orange, that really neon, orange look to it. I just love it.
Mm-hmm.
Finals has some incredible moment-to-moment gameplay. Best MP in years. This is from Wannabe Dev. Well, you're good at it too. I mean, maybe not amazing, but you're good at it. So watching you is like better than, let's say, watching me. I don't know if I can do those anymore. I felt like I did well in this, but I feel like if I went in Call of Duty, there wouldn't even be a kill-death ratio. There'd just be a death ratio. Be 100% death. Like last time I played Call of Duty, man, I mean, like spawning in and running and dying and going, I don't know if I even saw the guy. Like all these kids on Adderall and crank and shit.
It's like, oh, someone's behind me again. Oh, someone came up behind me again. Oh.
Or what's the thing that you can call down? What are those called? The
all the airstrikes.
Yeah, airstrikes or whatever. And you're like, what was that? You're like, it was your death, dude.
Yeah.
Moving on from there, Diablo 4, you played a bunch. You like that? Well, not a bunch. Okay, you played
30. I finished the campaign, played a bit after that, lost interest, but I liked the campaign. Listen, Diablo had some things going for it. The things that it had going for it were not for ARPG players, okay?
Oh,
for
weird.
ARPG players, it's trash. But for normal people, it had a good story, it had a good atmosphere, it had amazing music, it had really good side quests. Some of them were really, really good, okay? The writing was pretty good, the acting was pretty good, one of the best cutscenes I've ever seen. And that's that. But for ARPG players, it just had shit. Like longevity and end game stuff and all that was all trash, and class balancing. I don't know what the fuck. But me went in, I got my money's worth, played the campaign, finished it, beat it, liked it, done. That's it.
What about you, Asa? Are you a Diablo any fan?
I'm still slogging through it, Diablo 4. I was really, really looking forward to it because I love Diablo 3 and I like Blizzard or old Blizzard as a developer. So if you're going to go into like most disappointing games this year, that's one of them for me. Even though I kind of like it, it does have some qualities going for it. I just like Diablo 3 so much more. I don't enjoy the progression in this one. I don't enjoy building the character. So if I take like a few weeks off and then go have a little blast around, then I have a good time. But if I play it more than like 3 days in a row, I just
also the UI is trash.
Damn, that's an interesting take. Sorry, the AI is trash too. Okay.
Yeah, the UI is trash, and it really just like it's super mobile feeling. Like it's like what I really like about, especially like in Diablo 2, there was some Tetris inventory management. You know what I mean? You gotta like move things around and stuff, organize
you love
it.
Your Tetris inventory, didn't you?
I love my Tetris inventory. but Diablo 4 was just everything took a slot. A gem took a slot. A fucking helmet took a slot. Armor took a slot, a sword. Isn't
that the bones of the player base though? Isn't that what they like?
I don't know, man. I don't know, but it just sucks. There's a lot of like UI just sucking these days, especially in fantasy
True.
games.
Yeah.
Old UI was so cool and had a lot of soul to it. And look at old Baldur's Gate 1 and 2 UI or Heroes of Might and Magic 3 and shit. And then you come now and everything's like so minimal and mobile and weird, and I don't like it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, dude, when I was playing Avatar, the difference between its UI and how fast it is versus Division and stuff was killing me. You know, because it's so fast in that. And then I went back to play Division with the guys, and you open up a menu and it's like, and you just it's that slow, sloggy. Like seriously, there's no reason for this.
Yeah.
See, Diablo. I gotta admit, man, Diablo's too edgy for me. It's like it's too World of Warcraft, but we can't use World of Warcraft because it's like
It's
got
Hell
its own thing.
Demons.
Hell Demon World of Warcraft, I guess. Yeah, so it doesn't fit my art aesthetic very much. I mean, I like some of the demons I've seen. The cutscenes are amazing. I got to admit, man, you don't see great voice acting in a lot of those games. That's where I think it's cut out usually. That game's got ridic, like voice acting. It's great. I mean, that voice acting is insane in that game. So that's one cool thing, especially if you're doing the campaign, is you have these cool moments where you want to listen. Because I also feel detached, and I usually have a hard time listening to a little dude on the screen.
Yeah, that's true.
Trying to emote, and you're like, well, I can't see him fully. So they did a great job on that. What else do we got? Lethal Company. Did either one of you guys do that one?
I did not, but I've seen a bunch of clips.
All right. What about you?
I tried and failed because some of the people that are in chat right now had microphone issues, and I don't think there's much point in playing that particular game if you've got mic issues. So I've not had a proper go at it yet.
Yeah, so here's the thing. Whenever you base a game on a niche situation like that, where it's like it's all voice proximity and stuff, it has to work for everybody. You don't want to do randoms if they've got their mic off. And I was watching Nor play. Nor's not a random. Well, he's pretty random, but he's not a random. He was playing with people, and I remember watching Wannabe Dev and him play, and Wannabe Dev is like, where the fuck did Nor go? And Nor's like is like the takedown of that group, where he just was 80 miles away, and then they can't talk. And so I was watching their streams, and I was trying to tell Wannabe Dev where he was. I was like, oh, he's to the left and up. And then I was like, you know what? That's a weakness of this game. It needs to do something to sort of force you to be together, or it needs to just shit and get off the pot and do something else. Because it didn't really work very well. I will say also with mods, it's much better. We were watching them play with mods, and it is a whole other ball game with mods. They really, a lot of the mods improve it at the basic low level to make it like feel like a better game. So that would be good. Also, it's ugly as hell. And and I mean, ugly. Damn, it's hard to look at. It's got the stars on your screen, and go ahead.
It's a game where I look at it and it's like, oh, it's more fun to watch than to actually play. Like, oh, I see all these like streamers that get along and do stupid shit and funny stuff, and I think it's like a great platform to kind of make shorts out of. But to play, I don't know. I'm not like a huge fan of Phasmophobia and stuff like that.
Right.
I need fun people. Like those games rely on fun people to play with.
Yep.
If you have boring friends, you're gonna hate those games.
Yeah. If you have boring friends or friends who are, like Takedown, where his attention is either really into it and you're excited, because I get excited when he's excited because I know it must be.
Yeah, he's a hype man.
Right. He's a hype man, dude. For sure. The new brand of car he'll sell you, but the last year's model he doesn't give a shit about. Right. Yeah. When he's excited, it's like, oh, so those kind of friends, when they're working together, right? They're like, but once you get the stretchy friend who goes just out of voice chat range or whatever, it starts to, they need some other fixes. One thing they do have is the walkie-talkie, which is nice. So you can still, but then it's another thing. And then, pretty soon it sort of falls apart. A lot of people are saying Halo Infinite is their multiplayer game of this year. And I'm not saying I would agree, but I'm saying that game has made some massive improvements. And
I was going to mention that. That's the shooting game that I can play.
Oh, gotcha.
Nice.
Okay. And do you do multiplayer in that, or are you mostly just the single player because you like Master Chief?
I do the multiplayer on Halo every now and again. I do some like community streams on a Sunday, so that's a regular to dip back into there. I can make all of the enemies like bright green, and I can pass the information and know who to shoot, so it suits me just fine.
That's good.
You can
That's
put
good.
it on.
You know what they did?
Put it on, what is it, the colorblind mode that actually helps you parse enemies.
True.
What were you saying, Nabsy?
Yeah.
Infinite knocked it out of the park with the gunplay itself. The guns feel so good. Even the plasma ones, every gun feels amazing. The sound, especially. Yeah, I think that's most of the brunt of the. So good, man. They knocked it out of the park with that. Even from the get go, like when I tried it when it first came out, I was like, damn, gunplay is so satisfying.
I hate so much about Halo Infinite. It's hard to be positive about it. Like when you're a fighter, you'll hear somebody say it sometimes. They'll be like, man, this guy can take a lot of damage. And I got to tell you, you never want to hear that. Because that means you're a really good catcher's mitt. Good job, stupid. You caught a lot of punches to the face. Infinite launched the single player was fine. I like that. But it's like that multiplayer and all the weird shit that they did and separating it. It's just a disaster. Stuff. Yeah. And Microsoft, I love some of their stuff and their design decisions are exciting. And then you get something like that. And you're like, dude, how much pot do you have to smoke? How many brownies do you have to eat before you make this stupid ass decision and you separate those? They had the way.
Such a good thing going before, man.
Exactly. And what is even weirder is I think a lot of people think that prior to were a little shady overall. They weren't necessarily the best. And you look at this and it's like they had all these good ideas and then they separate it and they do terrible on the support and it takes them a while to even get it playable. And that's difficult because there's a lot of games where that's popping up. You know, I love No Man's Sky, but the only way I love No Man's Sky is by immediately admitting No Man's Sky was nowhere near where it should have been. And it feels like we're saying that more and more. And it just sucks. I don't want to be sitting here going, man, really glad they fixed it. It's like, imagine where Microsoft would be just internally in a morale situation if they had nailed that day one, like a Forza Horizons for, the first Forza Horizon, where that sort of set the world on fire, where even myself didn't like the idea. And then it came out and you're like, oh shit, I think Forza Horizon might be my favorite racing game. Like, this is ridiculous. I never thought that. But dude, I don't know,
also,
man.
Like, that problem with games launching and being either incomplete or needing work to just get the functionality, the core functionality working, is a thing that's really sticking to Microsoft at the moment as well.
Yeah.
Because you've obviously got Halo Infinite and Forza Motorsport is similar. There's a lot of building still to do in that game. You obviously had Redfall. Even Starfield needed proper HDR and things like that. So is this going to carry on with them, or what's the problem?
HDR is a good one for Starfield because whoever's monitor, I'm talking to you, whichever one of you guys color, adjusted that for release, fucking buy a monitor that isn't from 1997. Because that was just a known issue. Like, looking at it, I was like, what the shit? This is all messed up, So, yeah, it is something that's stuck. And it even looking outside, early access has started to bother me. Because it's like early access really just means never done. 5-6 years is not an unusual time frame anymore for early access. That just blows my mind. And these games are launching. I want them to be good day one. Days Gone got hit by Sony really bad because it wasn't ready. And that's a console game. And you're like, dude, you guys could have held off for like 3 months and had a game that would have been close to the Spider-Man, the Horizons. I think overall it's not to that level, but it would have been closer. Yeah, it just sucks. It sucks because I think Microsoft in particular, like you said, has some of these issues. And Redfall isn't Microsoft, that's Bethesda. Starfield's also Bethesda, but it falls under Microsoft now no matter what, because for whatever reason, Phil Spencer apologized for it. I don't know where that conversation came from, but I would have been, if I was the CEO and they were like, hey, can you apologize for Starfield? I'd be like, fuck no, man. That's your guys' shit. I would have been like, in fact, check out what we're going to fix when they are now working for us, because that's all Bethesda. I mean, Redfall in particular. What the hell? I mean,
I think that sucks even more so for you in terms of like games coming out trash and then improving afterwards, because people can wait and never play the beginning of it. And I feel like you as a reviewer have to play most of them when there's then, so you're forever gonna have that memory. Redfall, do you think there is any, like, man, it was bad? Do you think there's like any way they can fix it?
No, like, any redemption arc for it?
No, there's no, and that's not even saying I believe it technically bad. I believe that there isn't a desire to play that kind of game as much as there was when it came out. And we're
Yeah.
already moving away from games as a service. See, the thing is it's all in cycles. That's why you get 5 companies doing somewhat the same thing, and then 4 years later, they're always aiming for the next big thing. That game is not as popular as it was during Back 4 Blood's days, which is another game that released sort of shoddy and really improved. But I'm tired of just saying really improved. It just most improved. Like that's the award you didn't want to get. Dude, most improved is not a pat on the back. Most improved is like, good job, you were shit.
It shouldn't be celebrated.
And we saw a huge gap between now and then. And you're like, no, you're not the best. You just improved the most. And it's like, well, I was the worst. Yeah, so you stepped up. It's like, what the fuck? Like, nobody wants that. And I have no issue with the developer releasing it. They released it. They chose to do it. But they're reaping the whirlwind now, which sucks too, because I'm sure the devs didn't wake up and go, dude, let's make a shitty game. I got an idea. Let's make a game nobody likes. The Gollum devs, same thing. Do you think those guys were like getting together, high-fiving each other, saying, dude, we're going to fucking knock this out of the park. Nobody's going to expect such a shitty game. It sucks, man. And like Asa said, it does seem to hit Microsoft, and this is why I have an issue with Microsoft's deal with NVIDIA, with the game GeForce Now, because I don't know how many deals Microsoft can make with companies on the improvement spectrum. And GeForce Now is great, but it has horrendous support. Games will be gone for 3 months. They'll just say in maintenance, and they don't even have support people. So you'll ask and you'll get nothing. And I just don't know if I was a big company, if I wanted to just continue to grab these mediocre, but on the rise kind of situation, which is probably why they wanted Starfield to knock it out of the park. It did in sales, but it's obviously just sucks. Halo's
Stalker
great,
2,
though.
man,
Stalker 2, yeah. Well, that's the other thing. Microsoft's got a couple 3 or 4 years of insane releases. If you guys look at that release list, you're like, if half of these hit,
Senua,
what's the BioShock Time Splitters?
Exodus,
Clockwork Revolution.
Clockwork Revolution looks great.
Oh, that one. Oh my God, In Exile.
In Exile.
In Exile. Oh,
Fargo,
yes.
Even though
and Avowed, right? Those two I want.
Yeah.
No. I don't know about Avowed, but Clockwork Revolution. I like Fargo. He makes some buggy games. You know, Wasteland 3 was
loading screen simulator. I love that game.
I love that game, but there was a lot of bugs from a lot of people. Luckily, I didn't hit as many. But man, when I was talking to the guys in the Discord, it was like just
the co-op was completely borked.
And the Ascent. Yeah. See, that's the other thing. The Ascent, fantastic game. The co-op for a lot of you guys was a complete fucking disaster. And luckily, the person I was reviewing it with, we didn't have that. But it's like, again, one more title that's just got these little, you can't just say good. But Spider-Man 2 released in the same problem with the patch, with all the bugs and people swinging into
Spider-Man 2 is pretty damn buggy
and shit. Yeah,
oh man, I had to reload in that game more so than Warhammer 40k Darktide or Warhammer 40k Rogue Trader.
Don't say it. Did you say Rogue Trader?
Yeah.
I said that's a lot then, because Rogue Trader's pretty rough.
I've had way more bugs in 20 hours of Spider-Man than I've had in 20 hours of Rogue Trader.
Get the fuck out.
I swear, maybe I have a Johnny PC, man.
Yeah, maybe your Magic PC runs one of them. What was he saying? Lords of the Fallen completely smooth? And I'm like, the devs are like, yeah, we're working on smoothing this out. And Johnny's like, 120 frames, perfect frame timing. I don't know. Maybe he's got a crazy supercomputer. But there's a lot of really good. There's a lot of really good titles that are improving. I'd like them day one. Sea of Thieves was another problem. Had almost no content, and now they're adding private servers. Finally,
Sea of Thieves is one of the games where I don't even remember the shitness that it was at launch. I just remember.
Yeah, they did a good job. Grounded released well. That's
Grounded. I keep hearing amazing things about.
Dude, it's good.
I wish I was a survival game lover, but you know what
I mean, unless you have a small person fetish, you could also just play it for that reason. You're all shrunk. Honey, I Shrunk the Kids fetish. Super Mario was good. Super Mario Wonder was good as a multiplayer. Did you do Super Mario Wonder, Asa?
No, I've not touched my Nintendo Switch since I threw it over my shoulder. I think it still works. I think there's a bunch of games on that console that I want. Yeah, for an intro clip. So on our Saturday show, my intro is me throwing the Switch over my shoulder. I landed on a beanbag, so it's probably fine, but I've just not turned it on since.
Oh shit. You don't want to come to reality. You don't want to face it.
I reckon it works. Mario Wonder, I'm quite notoriously not a fan of Mario as a character, but I do want to play that one as a 2D game. I haven't though.
Bro, they platinumed this year though. I don't like
Dude,
Mario,
they were
and I
the
don't
It's
like
in
fucking
Zelda.
the Switch catalog, like for like 3 years in a row. I just look at that catalog, going, "Damn, I wish I could play those on a good
Damn,
system."
son. Exactly. Yeah, exactly. I wish this
You
was on
know,
Switch too.
the reality is that Nintendo is the only right now. They're the only console that's consistently putting out amazing exclusives year after year, and they don't stop.
Sorry, I was typing that in. I was asking the people what the game is that they love that launched rough. So yeah, I would agree that like dude, I don't like Zelda.
Like Sony hasn't put out shit
I don't
much
like
shit
Mario.
other than Spider-Man this year.
Yeah, dude, I mean, see, that is the problem though, because the inevitable question is, what if they'd been on Switch 2 this year? What would Zelda have looked like at a higher res that didn't cut your fucking face because the aliasing is so rough
And
in
the
that game?
anti-alias. Oh,
Yeah,
man.
dude, it's the first game where you have to like take a depression class before because of cutting. I mean, that thing is rough, man. It's like Chronicles of
Xenoblade 3 was the...
Bro, that resolution was like 3. It was like
Xenoblade
3
was
FPS.
the biggest
Or
shit.
three-
Dude,
3P.
Xenoblade deserves better, man. That game with
Oh,
its
dude.
environments. Oh my
Yes,
god.
and
man.
the dinner time. It sounds really stupid, but like the party mechanic, the dinner time mechanic. I was like,
Yeah,
I'm
yeah,
in,
yeah.
man. I'm like, and the monster design and the world design. I remember I couldn't say what game I was playing, but I was like in the Discord. I'm like, I'm playing a game. It's got fantastic world design, and then being able to show it to people was harsh because I had to blow it up for YouTube, right? And I'm normally playing on this little 7-inch screen. I blow it up and I look at it. I'm like, you're
like,
gonna have to
no.
trust me on this one, guys. Like, unless I fake it and add some AI to or AA to this. Yeah, man, that game, like Nintendo just. I wish they had a character I gave a shit about. I think that's a big issue.
Link. I love Link.
Do you? Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I didn't know that. All right, you like?
Well, not Link as a character. I mean, like Link is just like a blank slate for the person. I mean, I love Zelda games.
See,
Do you like Link enough to be looking forward to the live action TV series?
No. Unless Midna is in it.
That's the quality of the character.
Yeah,
Hell
Midna's
no, I don't want to watch them.
I mean, I don't get it because I don't care, like, because unless it's gonna be like Mario where it's like, oh look, this is an Easter egg for a game, because Link is literally just the link of the player to the world, so it just doesn't, it's a game. Zelda is made for being a game, I think, honestly. Like,
I
yeah.
do love
Who
how Absy
fucking
walked
plays
that
Zelda
back
for
though, where he's like, I like it
story,
for the
dude?
characters, and I'm like, do you? And we started asking him, he's like,
No.
well, I like the worlds. I like Zelda.
No,
And-
with Nintendo, it's pure game, pure
Yeah.
game. I don't know. I can't tell you like, oh, this is a Nintendo character that's so deep and amazing, and I love this character. Metroid, no,
Metroid,
right?
might.
Metroid,
I mean, well, see, Metroid's also
maybe
just a
Samus.
blank.
Like, what's Samus' story?
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
You know what's Wannabe said something. He said Xenoblade 3 is the avatar of Nintendo, and he means Pandora in its graphics. And I would say, yeah, they did an amazing job. It is mind blowing. But what's funny to me is my favorite game on Nintendo is two characters I absolutely despise, which is Mario and Rabbids. When I heard Rabbids, I was like, the fuck? Nope. What? Like, is this like an animosity game where you're just going to make me hate the character? Like, that's your thing? And instead, it was pure magic, man. It was pure magic. Imagine,
When are we gonna get a Rayman Mario crossover?
Exactly.
Right?
That's what I'm saying. Imagine if they like stopped on the bong and they were like, wait, people, we have a couple characters people like. Well, I know people like Mario. I'm just joking there. But if somebody said there was a Rayman that was 3D like Mario 64, and they got Ubisoft and them working together, they seem to have a love affair, right? Something about Ubisoft and Nintendo. They're both so out of
what
touch.
is that? That's
I
so
don't know.
random.
I don't know, man. It's like maybe they have the same cannabis dealer. Like maybe they go to the same dispensary and they're like, hey, dude, and they high five each other. Let's make a game. And they're both laid back at that moment. They're
Let's make a game that's completely different from anything we've ever made in our own companies.
An XCOM Mario game. Like imagine if we sat down for a week together and we're like, all right, we got
no
Mario
open world Ubisoft design.
Exactly. Do you know what we would say?
Gameplay.
Mario and Assassin's Creed. Because I don't have any imagination. I'd be like, Mario and Assassin's Creed, let's do it. Like, it wouldn't even have dawned. I would have been a service game. Let's have a shooter.
It would be
let's have
better
a
at
roguelike.
parkouring, right?
Yeah. Man, they nailed it with that. They were good. And it is weird that when you look at Mario Wonder, the multiplayer section, a lot of people don't talk about it. They just talk about Mario Wonder as a whole. I think a lot of people played that solo. Maybe because Nintendo's multiplayer sucks balls. Maybe people
Yeah, maybe
couldn't
they were
read
going
the
to
phrase.
invite their friends and they realized that they're just a big freaking code of nonsense.
Dude,
Yeah,
what the
code of
fuck? I was just
nonsense.
gonna say that. Why is there still friend codes? What are they
Well,
doing, dude?
Yeah, I don't know. I think the new one might have QRCs or something where you can take a picture and they have a shit
Oh,
camera just
man.
for taking QRC codes.
Dude.
What else we got? Mortal Kombat 1. You like Mortal Kombat 1? Prepare your ass. I'm just joking. I'm not even going to talk about it. That's how this one didn't. Nothing about this one appealed to me. I played 6 matches and I haven't turned it back on. It feels a lot like just they said they're
Mortal
redoing
Kombat?
the world, but it's just Mortal Kombat as Mortal Kombat in a Mortal Kombat world.
The thing about more, they need to go back to the ones that had fun in them, you know, like Deception and Armageddon and all those fucking mini games and, you know, RPG. Like Street Fighter did so well and it had its like career mode or something that people liked.
Yeah.
Right? You
That
know,
would be
why don't they
awesome.
bring it back, dude. I want Mortal Kombat Deception again or something.
I would actually take a remake of Mortal Kombat Deception than a new Mortal Kombat any day.
Yeah, same.
And then there
I
was
have never liked
Go
a
for
Mortal Kombat game.
oh
No,
Never
really?
liked a Mortal Kombat game, not since
It
the
used,
first
it
one.
used
They
to
were
be my
always,
favorite.
to me, when the
man. Yeah.
Yeah, but you just liked the blood, didn't you? You were like, I like a bit.
Yeah,
of
I was a
gore.
kid. I was like,
you
oh,
were a
this is
kid
gore.
going there. There's blood.
Fatality. Yeah.
That was his core quality, and the gameplay was always shy. I always remember the first Mortal Kombat where it was up against Street Fighter, right? But
Yeah.
in Mortal Kombat, the characters all had this punching animation where they'd lean back, turn their head away,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
on
That
the
is
spot.
true.
And I was like, this is terrible.
Hmm.
And I don't want to be like really disrespectful, but those games have cool facial animation and things. They got some qualities to them, but as a fighting game, Street Fighter 6 any day for me.
Yeah. And
I respect
Tekken
it.
this year.
Street Fighter
Tekken
6 is really good.
Tekken, next year,
Tekken this year.
2024.
Dude, I'm thinking of oh man, no, I can't. If I get hooked on a fighting game, I'm not playing any other game.
I
But I'm
think
thinking
Tekken
about it 'cause
has the
Tekken looks so
highest
good.
chance because they have added some really unique things in this new one, like that classic mode where you can instantly switch stuff. There's all kinds of meta.
Mm.
It could fail completely in the multiplayer where like you get 100,000 people playing it, suddenly you're going to find you have some bugs. You know, you have some. That's just the way the world works. But the ideas, when I did the video on it, the ideas and the switch to Unreal, it looks good. I'm crossing my fingers on Tekken, and I don't like Tekken. I think I've liked 2 Tekken in my
The
life.
last one I played was 4, I think. Tekken 4.
I'm more of a Soul. I don't even love
one,
Soul
though.
Calibur. I'm just
Soul
more of a Soul
Calibur.
Calibur fan than Tekken.
I
And
like
then Virtual
weapons.
Fighter's
I
the
like Soul
highest.
Calibur weapons.
Yeah.
Stabbing weapons.
And Lizard Man. Dude,
Yeah.
I think I have a thing for lizards, man. That sounds dirty,
Oh
but
shit.
dude, I think I do because
Talk
every
to,
one of my
Alex
RPG
Jones.
games are lizard. Yeah, tell Alex Jones.
Yeah.
Kirk's a lizard man. Next up,
Drinking
Forza.
the fluoride of the water, dude.
I'm the only dude. Fluoride was good for you. I'm the only one who did Forza here as much. I think I don't know. Asa, did you even turn on the new Forza?
Reluctantly, I do play it quite regularly. The thing that Forza does really well, so I'm a VR player for racing games, and I do not care for playing them on a screen at all. Like that's one genre where it's really hard to walk back and play the old way.
Absolutely.
Yeah, makes sense. Yeah.
But Forza just like it's got this really simplistic multiplayer lobby where if you just want to jump on and play a game, it is really easy to set up an event, set the criteria and set the cars and just bang, have a go at it. Everyone's got Game Pass and they can jump in. So it's actually one that I play regularly most Sundays as part of the rotation just because of simplicity, not because I like it.
The upgrade, I don't care what anybody says. I do not like that upgrade system at all. And I know they're patching some and have patched some stuff. I don't like it as much as the prior ones, but I do like Forza. I like the feels just about what I want out of a racing game. I don't need a full sim. If I do, I would love to leap into a Assetto Corsa or something like that. So there's multiple true sim are racing and stuff. Forza just feels pretty good, and I like it overall. And it is a series that is, whenever you hear people talk about, you know, big series and games, you don't hear Forza that much, but that's been a solid contender all the time, which is pretty, it's pretty like spot on for how they've delivered it. It's very good games. Forza Horizon as well. Like they're just really nice. I just think that Forza...
Forza Horizon is magical. If they would just give me that in VR, I'd never leave. But
Microsoft and we won't even go. Microsoft just depreciated the WMR last week.
WMR.
Well, they said it's going to depreciate in Windows 12. I shouldn't kill that right away, but you don't kill your niche within a niche. Like just, you know,
sunsetting.
Yeah. Forza also, the thing about Forza that I've noticed is not only is it easy to jump into, it's pretty easy to understand your adjustments. It's pretty easy for somebody who doesn't do racing. They do some good tutorials. They do some good stuff graphically, and you can just sort of jump in and play it. And and you have enough options. My God, you can play that game with, all the bumpers and the bowling bumpers on. You could play Forza by just giving it gas. Like, there's so many adjustments. You could get a person who's never played a racing game and turn on all the adjustments. And I'm not joking. You can just give it gas. Like, that's how many, safety
Steer
features.
for you,
Yeah.
What you can't do is on a Sunday, you can't have a dry race. It's funny because you set up the events. I've never got into the tuning and stuff because, like I say, I'm just playing on multiplayer, setting up an event, bang, go. But it's got this variable weather setting, which gives you a random selection of weather where one of them is dry and 13 of them are pissing it down.
Yeah, right,
so
right.
It's become an in-joke. It's always going to piss it down whenever we race.
And we know why. Because rain and reflections sell a game. That's absolutely what it is. Yeah, you can go to Sahara Nevada race in that game, it'll still be raining. Because they just know when you have ray tracing and stuff, if you can throw up some reflections, you can sell that game on, and that's fine, but if you do random, there is a very high chance of having rain. WRC has a nice surprise as well this year. Wannabe Dev says, WRC is, I think, a pretty good improvement for sure. Pretty good improvement. What else do we got for multiplayer games? Finals, Lethal, Remnant, Outlast Trials. Anybody done that one?
Nope.
Me neither.
Nope. I've seen like clips of streamers or whatever the fuck, and the Game Awards they showed, right?
I think with that one too, like you said, I'm not really into the horror kind of genre. It has to hit me just right. And I think that one's survival. What would you call it? Multiplayer survival horror. Maybe not. I just survival.
Don't like helpless horror. Yeah. Like you can't do anything about it.
Yeah. In chat when I asked that, a lot of people are saying Forza. Looks like I asked what games sucked at launch, and I'm sure there's a bunch of Halo. It's definitely improved. I mean, I don't want to do most improved. Like I said, that's the world's worst award, man.
Do you know what multiplayer game I've played a lot of this year?
Go for it.
Baldur's Gate 3.
Yeah, sorry.
Did you try
I got
that
on
multiplayer?
Yeah, it's awesome.
I'm not sure it's the best way to play it. It is the best way to play it because playing with friends always makes everything better. But mechanically, I'm not sure it's the best way to play it. It doesn't do what the Divinity games used to do, where you get into a conversation and everybody playing would kind of roll and use their built character to influence the discussion. It feels much more like all of the characters have a shared story, and what one person chooses is essentially you've chosen for everybody in that group, which is slightly disappointing in a game that I love. But
it's very interesting the way they do it. Like I wish they'd kind of I don't know if you played like an Owlcat game or Solasta, but I like their style of whoever has like the most persuasion can like chip in, or you guys can vote on a choice or something like that. With Baldur's Gate 3, I had fun with my friend. Like we made like Legolas and Aragorn and stuff, just to role play as them. But for a first time, I struggle to play that co-op first time. Like I there's something about these games where I wanna like just explore on my own pace and kind of like do everything. And the moment there's someone else involved, you're like, oh, so what should we do next and stuff. And you guys gotta like, you know what I mean? There's something to it. But if you have like someone you synergize with, it's awesome.
Then it's good to play. Like, it's somebody that you can say, I like to set up rules before I play those games. All my friends break them. Cadiz, I'm talking about you, you son of a bitch. But anybody normal wouldn't break them. But yeah, you make the rule, hey, don't go off, don't do this, don't do that, and you can enjoy them. I was going to say the best multiplayer multi-choice I've ever seen is Star Wars MMO. When you go in and you do the choices and everybody's got a chance and you pick, and then it randomly chooses one of those. And if you have 4 people, I personally, I was just like, man, give me that any day so that I could possibly affect this. But I get it. I'm one guy out of 3. So it's like if 3 people vote, I have 25% chance, they have 75. I get it. I can live with that. But they didn't do that here.
Doesn't that game have like 8 separate complete stories or something? Like one for every class and race,
and straight up liars.
And then within those 8 stories, you got like the choices, and then within those, you got like
Raids,
Jedi versus Dark versus
all that. Yeah. And I remember when they said it is just like Horizon, where I was like, no. That's not.
Yeah, I
happen.
didn't believe it. People
Nah,
were
me
like, "Oh,
neither.
this is the WoW killer." Yeah.
Nah, me neither. I was like, there ain't no chance that they're gonna be able to do 8 stories. They're like, we got 8 KOTORs. I'm like, no, liars, complete
Yeah,
liars
they
for
said
sure.
that, and they
then I
said
played it.
choices are impactful. I'm
Yeah.
like, yeah, sure. And then
Yeah,
MMO,
sure.
right?
Sure, we've seen that.
Yeah.
And then I played it, and I think I did Trooper, which admittedly I know a lot of people think is one of the better ones, but I did Trooper first, and I was like, oh, okay. If they're all like this, and then I did Imperial Spy, which is considered another good one. I was like, oh, shit, I'm wrong. And that's nice to be wrong, you know. It has stopped me from outwardly hating stuff so much when I've played something like that and been proven wrong. It's nice. Forza Horizon was the other one where I was actively like, dumb. You're dumb. Your idea is dumb. You're all dumb. And then I played it and I was like, I'm dumb. It's okay. You guys were complete. That's what, guys, we were talking about this 2 podcasts ago. This is one of the reasons why I don't want motherfucking developers listening to us. They shouldn't.
Why?
I don't want them listening to the fans because the fans don't know the game the developer's releasing.
No, the fans are stupid.
I'm stupid. I'm a fan.
Yeah,
don't
we are.
let me control your shit. Even if I bitch and I'm like, I want... do your own thing, and then we'll decide with the wallet. We'll decide with everything. They know what's going on.
Players don't know what's best for them. Yeah, don't know what's best for themselves.
No, at all. I mean, we might know what we like, but that also changes because I've definitely gone into something thinking I won't like this new thing, and then did it and was like, this might be my new thing. Like, and that's refreshing. It's like magical when you find that, man. You find that cool thing that you just weren't expecting. Terrence said Star Wars Old Republic was a game I wish I played. Bro, right now, free to play. Just go fucking play it, man. Baldur's Gate 3, a lot of people are saying they love the co-op. You're playing with 3, though.
I play with my wife and a friend, and I love the co-op. I love the co-op as well. I mean, like, everything is good with friends, right? I just mean mechanically, it's not. It doesn't feel made for it in the same way that Divinity was. Because in Divinity, if you had like a choice and consequence thing and you chose differently, like you're like, I want to kill that guy, and the other person says, let's be nice, then your characters would roll against each other to see like which path you're actually going to take.
Yeah. And I miss in Divinity,
this one,
they
it's
have...
like...
No,
go
sorry,
ahead,
go ahead.
Go ahead, Asa.
No, just this one. It's like I play quite chaotic and I'm quite unusual in some of the choices that I make, but my choices apply to everyone in the group. So if I've decided I'm going to follow a certain path, then I have decided that for everyone, whether it makes sense or not.
Right.
If that makes sense.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Abzy.
Oh, no, I just miss in Divinity as well. Like, other than making choices together, you'd have those character conversations between players. Remember? And you're like, oh, is this what you did? You know, and then you can have like the in-game kind of conversation with dialogue trees and shit. It's really cool.
I think that Baldur's Gate, you know, we don't want to add, they've done enough, so it's like, I'm sure at some point maybe they thought of all this and they were like, God, that's one more thing to worry about or whatever. You know, maybe they'll add it. You know, can you imagine that at some point you're like, all right, we've got it so that if you talk to the squid on the 3rd Sunday and you weigh 150 pounds, this happens. You're like, Jesus, really? So they've got all that in there, so I'm okay, you know, with it not being perfect. But I would say mechanically, yeah, it's better for I'm the ruler and you're the NPCs if you're playing co-op. That's sort of how you need to play that game. You know, and I play chaotic too. I play where the choice, I take everything into account, not the alignment. So like if a situation feels off, I'll be like, well, this village is dying. Where other players would be like, whoa, why did we just go atomic on these guys? I'm like, that's the choice I made. And I would say other people might not like playing that. Sure.
Yeah.
Are you a killer,
because
Abzy? Even like when you play those, I'm
like you. Like I take every situation as it comes. I think, especially with Baldur's Gate, like none of the companions really felt like they were stuck to one alignment. You know what I mean? Like they're constantly changing, and everyone had their own reasons for everything. So whenever something would happen, like I would just judge it as it comes. I don't have like unless I'm playing a paladin where I have like an oath. Right? I don't have like a predetermined. That makes sense.
Yeah, right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
I don't have a predetermined like, oh, I gotta save everyone. No, if they don't deserve getting saved, I won't save them. But they have. You're right. They have thought of a lot of things. Like it's crazy to think about. Like, did you know there's so that you can meet like an ogre, but very early in the game, and he's with like other ogres, but that one ogre is speaking kind of intelligently, like a normal conversationalist.
Yeah.
He's talking, and you're like, what the hell? When you kill him, you get like a hat that increases your intelligence to like 17 or 18. But if you were to pickpocket him and take that hat away from him or a glove or something, he starts talking stupid again. Which I was like, damn, like who's gonna do that? You know?
Right, right. That is like that's magical, man. And I don't expect other games. It's so funny because I can play Baldur's Gate and then right after it play a game that doesn't do that. I have no issues with that. I know a lot of people are stressed and are like, you know, I know the Warhammer Rogue Trader guys were like, listen, we're not as big and we haven't been built in early access. We haven't been built as long as this. It's not going to hit that. And I'm like, that's okay. I mean, it just, you know, you occasionally have that game that things come together perfectly. And I had some issues with Baldur's Gate, including the performance in Act 2 and 3, where like it's obviously not perfect. And I had a lot of bugs. You know, I had some items disappearing or not attributing.
I didn't like Act 3 in general, man. Like, aside from bugs, like, I thought it was too... I mean, Act 1 was amazing.
Don't spoil anything. I know you're not, but I just want to say we're not going to spoil.
I'm still
Act
on Act
2,
2.
I loved Act 2. And then Act 3 just felt kind of too messy a little bit too messy. And it had amazing beats, but there's something about Act 3 that just a little bit less than the others.
Yeah. It is cool to be surprised, man. I didn't know, you know, I played early access at Baldur's Gate, and I'll be honest, I didn't really love the island. It just really didn't grab me too much. The very first starting of Baldur's Gate 3, where you get land.
Oh, okay.
And I was just like, this just isn't really, it's not really lighting my fire. And I'm glad they didn't listen to me, because I bitched about it a lot on the podcast. I'm telling you, man, I want devs to silo themselves, turn off Twitter. Don't listen to anything gamers say, man. Just do your thing, and we'll judge when it comes out, like everything else.
They have to listen. They just have to pass the feedback really carefully, because like don't listen to what we're asking for. Listen to what we're complaining about, but not what we're asking for.
For example, well, you know, we were talking about transparency and secrecy. So here's the thing. Rarely do you see an author go, hey, fuck, man, everybody on Twitter, you think I should kill this guy in my book? Fuck. No. You think I should have the bad guy be this? No, you don't see him asking that. And I'm okay with developers doing the same thing. Now, if they're in early access, right? If they're releasing a demo, of course, you're doing that for a reason. You should take it. But I just don't want to hear, how do you even know? And we see this all the time. People say this. I don't give a fuck what people say. People are the ones that cause all the trouble in the world. People. Like, get rid of people. That's a terrible way to itemize or take in feedback. There's other ways you should do that, and that includes, by the way, these developers using playtesters and stuff like that, who can go in where they get real feedback, you know, from those people. Have we seen it go wrong? Yeah, we've seen games playtested to death where you get it and there's no edge. So, but that's up to the developer to figure it out, man. I don't know. I just don't think it's on us, and I don't want it to be.
Yeah, especially with balancing things, man. I always say this. I just hate when everything's just so balanced completely on this.
It's like somebody took a lawnmower and mowed all the
everyone's
cool bits
supposed
off.
to be the same power, and everything's the same power, and nothing is overpowered, and it's like, come on, that's boring.
You can get your dexterity bonus or your strength bonus, and then the next level they give you a skill that reverses it. So if you chose dexterity, you can now add that, and you're like, dude, then why the fuck?
Level scaling? Like, one of the biggest issues with Diablo 4 was the level scaling. And it's like, okay, I leveled up. Oh, I'm weaker now because my gear hasn't leveled up with me, right?
That's happened in a lot of games. You know, a Division, we were watching somebody play Division 2 yesterday. Baseball gear, who's like level 2,565, right? This guy's been playing like the dude's fucking hacked the game. He pops into game dev, I think, was playing. Pops into game. No, it was Moodski. Drops into his game, and Moodski's level goes plus 50. You know, like, and all the bad guys were really hard for a second, and then he left. And I was like, ooh, thank God that turned off. Like, can you imagine screwing with people's games, jumping into randoms, super high level character, just being like, ha ha, ha ha, you know, just fucking up their levels.
That's funny.
So you can definitely do that kind of stuff. I agree with the balancing, but I don't know.
Well, Warcraft's the ultimate example where they let players have access to all of the numbers. So they go, well, you have to be able to do precisely this much damage per second with the same amount of burst and the same amount on crowds.
Oh,
to the point where it's like, why does it matter which class I choose?
The internet has, ruined a lot of MMO stuff. I miss, like, back in vanilla days, like, no one knew what the fuck was going on. So it was like an adventure for everybody, and nobody knew what the best meta is. And everyone was trying new stuff and seeing what works, and that stuff is just the best part. But yeah, we have data miners
be done
now.
That way too. Ubisoft games sadly feel focus tested, especially AC Valhalla. Probably focused for the people gonna buy it, because goddamn, that game sold like hotcakes. Talking to my nephew and a couple other people who are younger than me, in the 20, 25 age group, and they just love it. Beyond belief. Valhalla. Love it.
Like Ragnarok Valhalla or Valhalla Ragnarok?
Valhalla. Ubisoft.
The Assassin's Creed.
Creed.
Okay. Yeah.
And it's so interesting because I liked it, but I had some issues, and now I really like it when they patched it. But with gaming getting bigger and new gamers coming in, there's this separation that's really noticeable now. Really noticeable. The people who are tired, that's why as a reviewer, if I feel tired, I probably won't review the game. If I feel like I'm going to be tired of this because it's been this thing, it's my job to say, is the game good by itself, and is it a good representation of a sequel? You can do both, but it can be hard, man. You know, because I mean, even when I was playing Valhalla, they were also coming 2 years after each other. Odyssey, then Valhalla. Was that maybe 3 years? I think
2 years. I think.
Was it 2 years?
Yeah.
And that popped, but yeah, it was funny to talk to him, and I'm like, I was bitching about what you and I bitch about all the time, is a motherfucking doors in Valhalla.
Oh, motherfucking locked doors and barred doors.
You go to a hut and it's a door. You got to go 800 yards away, find a cave that goes under. It's like, fuck. And he was like, dude, I love searching for doors. And I was like,
oh no, man,
son.
You know, that's what like I played 75 hours or 80 hours of Valhalla, and then I literally came across another barred door, and I was like, nope. I'm done. I uninstalled instantly. I'm like, I got my hours, got my money's worth. Yeah.
I think it's cool because we also got Mirage, which didn't hit in the way I think I pretty much expected, but also hit in other ways. And like you did,
got good ideas
where you played it until you were done and you didn't need to finish it. You were like, I've had my money out of this. It's been great. It's been great. You know, it's almost like when you hang out with family and at some point at 11 o'clock at night, you're like, could you please leave? Like, we've had our time. You need to go. My house, get the fuck out. That's the way. It's okay to do that with games, man. It's okay. It's okay to be like, dude, this has been great, but relationship is over, man. Like, it's me and you, you know? Just leave.
Everything comes to an end.
Everything does, yeah. Except for my life. I'm going to live forever. Fuck it.
Except for
Rocket League.
Star Citizen.
Star Citizen hate in Rocket League. Ex Nelhino says, you're people, Karak. No, I'm not. I hate people. Hate them. The internet ruined MMOs. LOL. I know what he means, but that's just too funny. Okay, says.
Yeah, no, yeah, you know what I mean.
Yeah, he knows what you mean. I knew what you mean. Somebody will cut it and be like, Karak hates people, and Abzy fucking, thinks that, it doesn't matter. I hated those locked doors and random caves other side on AC Valhalla. Yeah, those were rough. Moving on to other good stuff, though. That's the multiplayer games. So we got Baldur's Gate added in there. Anybody else got some multiplayer games that you think we might have played that you want to pop onto this chat before we move to the next bit?
Dude, fucking Fortnite, dude. I'm a Fortnite player now.
Oh, yeah, let's talk about Fortnite. The best meta version of meta ever.
I've never played Fortnite.
I'd be flipping off Epic. Facebook. If I was Epic, I'd be like, fuck you, Epic,
dude,
look at us.
They
meta.
crushed.
They did.
I keep talking about how I'm very impressed with Fortnite, but I've never played it. Like, I always go like, I don't play Fortnite, but it's very impressive what they've done with it. But I actually downloaded it with my friend, and we went into that world, and it's fun as hell, dude. You can go, you're playing Mario Kart with Rocket League cars, and then the next second you're playing some Guitar Hero game, and then we played some gun game that someone did, and then Squid Game, and then we were playing like some horror game. We played like a parkour game. We went into no build fucking mode. They have a hold on my soul now. I bought the battle pass. I bought a couple skins.
Fortnite, the Abzy channel, just all Fortnite shit.
They took me away, man. The Lego survival game is actually very decent and very satisfying. And you got to build Legos and stuff that you can make stuff like kind of like Tears of the Kingdom in a way, but not that crazy. But someone like made a catapult and stuff, and it's insane. You just go into that game and you just have a whole list of player created content made by Epic, and just so many different game modes and shit. Have fun, and it's fun, dude.
Ace, have you done any of these?
Yeah, a little bit of the rocket racing. I love Rocket League a lot, and rocket racing I was hoping would be that kind of those mechanics taken into a racing game. Yeah. Not a good one, but I play it quite regularly. I like Rocket League. It's like the only perfect game.
Dude, I have a lot of respect for people who play that game, because it's like one of the hardest games I've ever touched. Ever.
It's not. It's massively easy. It's just got a really high skill ceiling. I consider it like Quake 3 in that sense. Like, it's obvious, and you know exactly what to do, and everyone understands the mechanics in the game. But the skill ceiling is like ridiculous.
Dude,
you can get so good at it.
My friend was playing. He's like Challenger or something. And I'm seeing him like just like go in the air and do all these like flips and shit. I'm like, dude, fuck off. Yeah. That's crazy.
What other ones,
Yeah.
Asa? Have you checked out
Fortnite,
Lego?
the Fortnite thing. So you always say that Fortnite is the metaverse, and you stick your fingers up at Facebook and all of that. Is what they've been chasing. I've been saying that for a little while, but about Roblox, which is exactly the same deal. Fortnite has somehow managed to muscle in. Roblox had that down pat as like, this is the metaverse, this is what it is. Everybody else is doing it wrong, and Epic just have the power and the IP to muscle in on that territory. But you're absolutely right, that's what the metaverse is. It's everything, and it relies on user generated content all over the place. So you can't really see it dipping out. And you see the likes of Sony chasing gas now, and Ubisoft doing it a little while ago, and they're like, you're years behind the curve. The platform is the one, and can you get it off of Fortnite and Roblox? Probably not, but
I agree.
Yeah, dude, it's crazy too, because the people, including myself, who are like, Fortnite, whatever. I saw somebody playing guitar in Fortnite, and it wasn't even great. You know, there was some issues with control and stuff. Then I saw him doing Lego, and the more they played Lego, the more I was like, wait, this isn't just a front end for like selling Legos. It isn't that at all. It's an actual full-on game, you know. And I saw like one person building shit and the other person going and doing crazy stuff, and I was like, oh, this is sort of, it's almost like when the what's his name from Facebook,
Mark Zuckerberg.
Yeah, when the Zuck went on Lex Friedman's podcast and stated, we got this amazing VR. Oh, but we got to make apps. And you're like, dumbass, you just sold it terribly. Like, you just walked into it. And then Fortnite's like, oh, out of the blue, we have things that you can touch and feel, and they may not be 100%. But what happens is they're more than you expect versus less. Everything I feel like we're getting early access is always less. Here's a little bit of something. Here's a little bit. Instead, their epic stuff for Fortnite is a little bit plus. It's almost like endgame plus. Like our Legos, there's some stuff here plus a little bit more that you might not expect. And there's a magic there when you discover something that you sort of probably were like, this probably won't be in the game. And then you do it and you're like, oh, shit, that is in there. And the guitar one is not fully fleshed out, but I think they're adding in instruments, right? Support.
Yeah, they're having instrument support next year.
People are going to be looking in their trash and in their cupboards.
Yeah,
you
trying
know,
to find them.
Trying to find those, or eBay's prices for those plastic guitars.
I mean, you could hook up probably a jump pad and just map it to the to the keys.
Yeah, you could. Yeah, you could, or one of the thousands of controllers they've got.
I've said this before, but I just love the idea. I know Roblox was already a thing, but Fortnite is way more popular, and there's a lot of new kids getting into it, and just the idea of having like an Unreal editor for Fortnite to kind of get people into that, or have people express their creativity through it is just amazing to see.
I was watching a Moodski play.
Roblox is like,
oh, go ahead, go.
I was gonna say, Roblox, like as a company, became worth something like $58 billion or something ridiculous like that. And I've not met anybody as a grown-up that plays Roblox, but that value is like, wow. And then you look at Epic doing it, and the Fortnite engine thing. That's going to cement Unreal Engine as the go-to for big companies forever, because they're just teaching people how to use this engine as teenagers. Like, it's madness.
Yeah, it's insane.
I see.
It's also a hotbed for like
thought about that. Yeah. Sorry, go ahead. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, I'm just saying it's also a hotbed for like every kind of like it's the only game you can see Vegeta and Eminem kill Peter Griffin. You know what I mean?
Cultural phenomenon.
Yeah. And it is crazy too that is one thing. So for example, music that sort of transcends age. Sometimes older people listen to Eminem, younger people. Eminem's now middle aged, so it's like you got what's his name, Lamar or whatever. You got these events going on. The Weeknd. Right. It feels to me like the one thing that they hit pretty well when I was talking to Moodski, he was saying, I believe, that if you have some stuff unlocked and you go into Lego, I believe you wear the clothes of some of your characters that you've unlocked for Rocket League or something. There was like
1,200 of the skins they crossed over for the Lego mode in particular. They like redesigned them all to look like Lego characters.
See, and that's meta. So that's the entire ace in the hole that like people have been sort of trying to figure out is how do you make it without a bunch of games? They're like, oh, you know how? You're the Unreal you sell Unreal. That's how. And you give it to some of your devs and you say, you make this, you make this, you make this. We've already got the IPs for these guys. Boom, put them all together. And suddenly somebody can see their Rocket League character in
do you remember the
Unreal? Sorry,
Like the NFT dreamers from a couple of years ago who were like, oh, you can buy a skin in this game and use it in that one. And everyone laughed at them because we all understand gaming and you can't do that. But it works if all of those games are Fortnite, right?
And it works if the games are generally, if there's something there game-wise. That was NFTs. They were trying to sell NFTs early, and that's a VR's problem. VR is like, hey, look at this headset. Games? Well, yeah, at some point. And you're just like, well, that doesn't work. So it's very cool to see them do that. I mean, I'm not saying the positives or negatives of Epic. I'm just talking about it as a platform. They definitely leapfrogged. And we do see some of these. I don't know if the other companies were even thinking about it. So it'll be interesting to see if somebody else tries to do it. It won't be, I don't mean like, what's the other editor? Unity. I'm not saying like Unity, but like I said prior to the podcast, is Sega's Super game just the front end? And you've got all these. I mean, imagine getting a Shinobi skin in a game, or like I could actually, especially as a Sega fan, that would entice me to play those games. It's enticing.
And I saw
their enthusiasm.
I saw dude. For some reason, this is gonna sound weird. The shop or the battle pass stuff in Fortnite is way better than others. Like, they don't do the scummy shit where it costs a little bit more than the first tier of stuff. It costs a little bit less than the first tier. Like, you pay $10, that's it. And then within the battle pass, if you keep playing, you could make enough to buy the next battle pass without having to spend money, and you unlock all kinds of skins and stuff. And I'm like, damn, it's not as predatory as I thought it would be.
Or it's more predatory, because those are the hooks.
Keeps you going.
Sure nobody ever leaves,
there you go.
right?
Okay, you could put it that way for sure. But I just hate when a lot of games do the whole like, oh, you gotta pay twice now just to get that.
It's $9.99 for this, but it's $10 for the skin, and you're like, you sons of bitches. But it is. You know, they looked at it and they were like, let's reverse it for public awareness, which you could say is predatory. But I also think it's better anyway. It's just better to be able to. So, and I always talk about it, I will pay for a game that's free if I like the game. If I'm enjoying Lego, you can bet your ass I'm going to buy something in Lego. I got no issue with that. It's free. I'll jump in. If I like a skin, I'll pay for it. Like that, I have no issue rewarding a developer for that. And if my reward that I buy makes actual sense numbers-wise, it's even better. Because I've been through those MMOs with 80,000 currencies that are like, change your diamonds to fucking platinum and then transform into dragonkin, and you're just like, what the fuck? None of it makes sense. So, and they lose you in the translation on purpose. What were you gonna say?
Yeah. Not to mention the Unreal Editor is I think it's very indie friendly. Like they don't take a cut for a long time, and even then it's not that predatory at all. It's like what, like 5% of your earnings after you hit like a mark, like $1 million or something, which is I don't know the exact. But
they've done a really good job with courting people. They've got the money to do it, you know. But they've done an awesome job at courting people. And the editor, ignoring all this other stuff, I've played with Unreal Editor. It's powerful as hell, man. And
Lumen, Nanite.
Yeah, Lumen, Nanite. The blueprints are insane. I mean, the blueprints are nuts.
Meta faces or whatever.
Yeah, meta faces, meta voices, meta. Yeah. I mean, you can do. There's so much stuff you can do in that like I see why dev looks at it and says, listen, we don't know how Unity is going to handle shit in 2 weeks. Those guys could start, charging us our firstborn. So it's like, let's just go with Unreal. There's a stutter. You got to worry about that. You got to worry about some other stuff, but let's just jump to that. And they know the price is less than Steam, if they go on the storefront. So it makes perfect sense to them. Let's look at chat. What do we got? Oh, people just talking about Fortnite. Rocket League is awesome. Is it going to be easier to become a game developer in the future? And no worries. Is it going to be easier to become a developer in the future with the advancements in AI and leveraging is what he means, those technologies? For sure. We already have people in our Discord who are messing around with Unreal all the time.
Everything's so much easier with AI right now. Even my job, everything is just easy mode all the fucking time.
But even if you remove AI and you just say editors, dude, the stuff. I mean, if I wanted to make a game, I'm not saying it would be good, but I can even, let's say I wanted to go to Sega and say, I'm going to show you how to make a good virtual fighter. I could actually put it together and say, these are my ideas.
And publishing is much easier than ever. You can put your game out there on Steam, on other stuff. Like, way easier than before.
I love that kind of stuff. When it comes to the Discord subjects, we got a couple in here we're going to hit. Absy was bringing up, what would we want out of Gears 6?
Yeah, because I saw some rumors or a tweet and hinting at Gears 6 and what would bring the the series back for you.
Well, one of them's dead, so can't bring them back.
True.
Honestly,
Prologue.
honestly, dude, get rid of the convoluted emo style stories, the like diving into all of the personal stuff. I think Gears were better when they were Gears of War, which was the entire thing. Your cogs, you're not, you don't have a say in anything. You're fighting bad guys. Same thing Halo fell into, the same difficulties Halo fell into. I just like cool locusts to shoot and cool locations to go to. And if that part is fun, their technology is ace. This last Gears, say what you want about the story and stuff, but when you see how it runs and what it looks like, it's like, dude, they nailed it. So I just want to
Gears 1
return
had
to
such
form.
memorable locations and stuff.
Even
I think
2
that's where
and
they
3,
hit it with
they
like
had...
their own little mini games.
Yep.
Yeah, and 2 and 3. Yeah, yeah.
Did you hear
And
that question?
Horde mode.
And
What?
yeah, Asa, did you hear the question? What
I
we
did.
wanna
Yeah,
see?
my favorite Gears by far was Gears 1. Not like it had obviously 2, 3, and so on. They had more spectacle, but Gears of War 1 had the survival horror. It had the like run between the lights, or you're going to get.
Remember
eaten
the
by
light?
whatever
Yes,
the creatures are called.
That location was
That
sick,
kind of
dude.
stuff needs to come back, and it had your guns were really inaccurate, which it changed over time. But in Gears of War 1, if you found a bit of cover and you were playing stop and pop, you were just going to run out of ammo. Because you were not an accurate shooter. Like you could have a sniper rifle, but apart from that, you were spraying. And if you weren't on your toes and moving and trying to outflank the enemy, then you were just running out of ammo. And they lost that over the time. They chased spectacle and cutscenes and all the rest of it, which was cool. But I want them to do both. Bring back the survival horror, bring back the tactical play. And I like Gears and I like the Coalition. So
same.
And none of that decision at the end, like we're trying to be emotional, we're trying to be PlayStation. Which character do you want to die? Remember their names, and I don't care. Can we kill both of them?
Yeah, that's the other thing is, so these guys obviously were courting the young demographic, the I don't know, beanie wearing bearded 18-year-olds, what have you. But they did a good job, and then they sort of at some point were like, let's not court them anymore. And that is what happens is you lose that fan base. It's like, why are we suddenly doing this? It's a war-torn environment. Let's have some war in our war game.
Yeah.
Which is fine.
I want more filth back,
Yeah. The grittiness of Gears 1, 2, and 3 are nowhere even really remotely in the last two. I didn't. I forgot. There is 1 or 2 parts in the brand new one, but overall it just wasn't. Yeah. I like the Locust. They tried to continue to further the story, but my opinion is that sometimes when you see the story in those games, you'd be like, how long has passed between these two games? Like, and you sort of wonder, like, has it been a week? And they're trying to tell a story that involves something that feels like it should be 20 years, whatever. But they did do that in the new one. They moved it forward. How many years was this new one forward? It was a while, obviously, because...
Yeah, that's the thing. Like, I enjoyed the 5th one, but there's a lot with this, like, time skip or like people being old and stuff. It just makes me nostalgic more than anything.
Exactly.
It's like, I just want it to be back to how it was,
Yep. I think Gears also, the horde mode, the horror, the fear, because you were cogs and like it felt like you could die at any time. And then you get in the later ones, and even though they were pretending people were dying,
Yeah. I said Cameron.
Yeah.
Or
is it Carbine? Is it
Carbine?
Carmine.
Carmine, something like that.
Yeah. I mean, it's the same thing that happened with Halo, right? It just
and
the same thing that happens with a lot of shooters. Call of Duty's done it pretty well for. I mean, even though their stories aren't great, but they've kept it pretty like just going forward, and they try to tell a little story here and there. No,
they don't need continuity though, do they? Like Call of Duty, they all kind of stand alone. So
dude, do you know what I do? Especially when you play Infinite, which is in space. I'm just like, none of these are in the same universe. I just pretend like it's a multi-universe of Call of Duty, like Marvel. Just like, this is a different universe where this, because they rarely do they ever even mention anything that's happened anywhere else.
One of them had what's that guy's name from House of Cards?
Kevin Spacey.
Randomly, Kevin Spacey was in one of them randomly. Just JFK as well. I don't know what the hell's going on.
What else for Gears 6? Or what would this be? 7? No, Gears 6. 7. What are we on?
6.
6.
Judgment 2.
Oh God. Wait, what Judgment? You're talking about Gears of War Judgment?
No, he is, but he needs to be he needs to be beat for that.
Oh no.
What about so horde mode would be great.
Horde mode. I love.
But I mean, we've
Horde
seen
mode,
it. But
man.
I'm just
Gears
saying,
2.
yeah, like do all
Yeah.
that kind of stuff, all the stuff that we expect, but then return it back to formula, kind of thing. Just reverse it back. It's fine. Do what Mortal Kombat said they were gonna do, and go back and just pretend pretend 4, 5, and 5. 4 and 5 didn't exist. I'd be okay with that.
Yeah, same.
The hidden stories of the cogs, and you just play the time.
Or just like
gap.
something like what happened between 1 and 2 or some shit.
Exactly,
Just
the time
something
gap.
weird.
I'm okay with the time gap, because you can still die, even though technically you see them in the later games. But we could then just
I'd
forget
be
those
sad
games
if they
exist.
did. If they did pretend 4 and 5 didn't exist, I wouldn't like that, because that's what Halo did.
True.
Halo went, well, 4 and 5 didn't go down very well with the fans. So let's
True.
just like skip that story and move on to a new one.
Yeah, but I also would say I firmly believe that Halo is in a little worse spot than Gears is. That was my belief.
for sure.
At least the story stuff was so offbeat. I remember when they were showing whatever his name is, and they were trying to pretend John might be the evil guy. In some of the trailers, they're trying to pretend the Master Chief was.
Yeah.
You were like, come on, man, what are you doing? It's just terrible storytelling, man. It's like something you would expect from The Last of Us, just like terrible storytelling and horrible writing. I'm just joking. I'm just saying this so that people cut it for a clip. I actually liked Last of Us 1. 2, not so much. Gears, that would be it. What do you guys want in Gears 2 or Gears 6? Most people are saying they just wanted to return back to Gears. Gears horror.
Yeah.
Gears has become too formulaic. Really? Because I don't know if that's a formula, but maybe so. I sort of get what he's saying. Next up, id Mandalorian. So that's the rumor, right?
Yeah, that's the rumor, man. I don't know how to feel about that. When I thought Mandalorian, I definitely did not think id. Definitely did not think id out of everybody.
Because Mandalorian's more sedate and
because in my head, like watching the show, I was like, oh, this could be an RPG. You go, you get the extra armor, you make choices and stuff. I wouldn't expect it to be like a kind of like a boomer shooter. I don't know. It hasn't done anything other than boomer shooters, right? So I don't know what if they are gonna change.
Remind me what boomer shooter. I'd never use that. Remind
like
me
Doom,
what
Quake.
But what's the boomer come in? Age of? Is
Boom?
that age
I
Just
don't
a
or
lot of
boom?
fast-paced stuff.
Okay, I could never figure out if it
fast-paced
was
boom.
boom or if it was like people saying the age
All of
demographic
No,
was
old
boomer.
people.
Okay.
No, I think it's like boom. I don't know, but it's that genre. Yeah.
So yeah, no, I get that. Asa? Did you see this rumor that like they might that
I
id
did
might
see
be
the
working?
rumor, and I really hope it's not true. Like I'm sure id can make a good Mandalorian game, and Mandalorian was okay as a series, but Star Wars as an IP is like too much butter spread over too much milk toast.
Yeah,
And I don't-
True.
Like
True.
it's id, and they've got so many good IPs of their own.
Yeah.
Make a new Quake and a new Doom and all that kind
Too
of
much,
stuff. You make
too
the
much
edginess,
fat-free
you know?
things.
butter
It doesn't need
over
to be
milk
Star
toast.
Wars.
Yes. Thank you. That's a good answer. That's a really good.
I think
I agree.
with id, they do have their own IPs, and I also think maybe internally it would be nice if they were able to just go on their own, make a new world, do their own thing, whatever it may be. Just let them go. But I'll play it no matter what if it does happen. I saw the rumor, and I was like, I can tell that I don't care when I think I scrolled past the title, and I didn't even check if the article was accurate, which I'm usually always checking to see if like the article's clickbait. And I saw it, and I scrolled down a little bit, and I was like, whatever, and I just moved on. We'll have to see when it's closer or the rumors sort of solidify. Next up, Chinese new MTX rules. Tencent lost 54 billion, but also did you see another company, NetEase, lost 80 billion dollars in one day.
Another big microtransaction whore.
Yeah, can you believe that shit, man? That's
Yeah,
crazy.
yeah.
That is
Did
nuts.
you see so NetEase owns the company that's doing what was that game called? Alive, Once Human. That
Once Human,
survival
yeah.
game. And it's a free game, and the marketing, I think, manager or director or something came out and said our microtransactions are only going to be cosmetic. If NetEase forces us to do pay to win, they either have to kill us or replace us. So they did say
threw
that.
down
So
the
I don't
gauntlet.
know. Yeah, he
Wow.
did say that. So I bet NetEase will replace them if they want.
You gotta, NetEase will be like, we got enough money, man. We got 3 of you. But
yeah.
I mean, so the people who are just following this, China has a tendency to like go pro business and then anti business in like not
Yeah.
6-year, dude, right?
Yeah.
Or they'll just steal the president of the company, and then he'll show up 2 years later like some kind of reptile man who's like been reprogrammed to love China. So, yeah, they basically have stated that they've got new MTX rules, including the idea that they will find a number, an amount, and they will lock wallets off so a person can only spend a certain amount in a certain time frame to stop that. So that's the only one I don't agree out of all this. I don't the limit thing, that's just my personal, freedom isn't free. I just don't
agree.
like
the,
that idea.
The free market should be free, people want to spend on stupid shit, let them spend on stupid shit.
Yeah, I mean, if that's somebody's life, and they're loving the game, and depends on the amount, right? I mean, if the amount is super high, then we're talking about something different. But if you're putting a rule that's super high, that even seems dumber to even do the rule in the first place. Oh, it's 10,000 a day. You're like, dude, the people spending 10,000 a day most likely are Saudi sheiks running around with their, Fortnite skins. So it's like it's not going to bother me. What do you guys think? Will we see any? I mean, is there any impact on us at all?
I think there's
on
an
the
impact
gaming
on
world?
Gaming, because China is a huge market, and you'd be sure. I mean, you wouldn't be surprised.
No, I wouldn't be
you already
surprised.
know.
I know. I'm just saying, what do you think would be because it's in China. It's not.
Yeah.
We wouldn't have. The
I'm
rule,
betting. I'm betting that games would make changes in general to suit the Chinese market, so they could have parity. Maybe.
True. Yeah. But I mean, wouldn't it be a little bit like
you
censorship?
already get like a lot of regional differences in monetization.
That's what I was
anyway.
thinking
Like you've
too.
got certain places in Europe that won't allow loot boxes and things like that. So we did see less loot boxes.
Do they do that?
It does say that for,
Yeah, all of them.
Like,
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
Or they censored Hitler's
but
mustache.
China's already monetized very differently. Like you look at something like World of Warcraft is a subscription game in the West, and it's not in China. So
What?
It's a pay-as-you-go game over there. Yeah. Completely different monetization for that one.
What do you mean pay-as-you-go?
Or my information is like a decade out of date, so I could be completely out
then
of touch.
it was like
but
that.
It used to be
so it doesn't. Yeah, exactly. Go ahead.
Yeah.
It used to be in the West, you'd subscribe for like, I don't know, $10 a month or whatever it was. In China, you'd go to a cafe and you'd pay for your hours.
Oh
It
shit!
was a completely different model.
Oh,
That's crazy.
yeah. That's what I think. Is it'll be a little bit like censorship, where
WoW did have
there.
some differences, like skeletons and shit weren't really skeletons.
Yeah,
in
right.
The Chinese,
Yeah, in China, they're not going to let you do
like Forsaken.
skeletons. There's a couple zombies, right? Zombies and skeletons are a no-go there.
No, like
No red
flesh
blood,
hanging
isn't it?
off or something. No red blood. Yeah.
Mhm.
No red blood. Come on.
Oh, the Forsaken, they couldn't have their bones showing, so they had a slightly different model with flesh over all the bones.
Oh,
yeah.
no shit.
Yeah.
You couldn't show a broken bone? What the hell?
Mm.
Who wakes up?
You can show a bone at all.
Man, so they don't have. What are the hentai
They
games?
don't have bones. What do
Just
dogs eat? Yeah.
Yeah. Oh my
They might
God,
be
I never
alright,
thought about
but-
that. If you're playing The Sims and you give the dog a bone, what? I
You
wonder
can't.
if it's like a squeaky toy.
No
That's no bones games.
No
Yeah.
chicken bones. You can't
It
eat
affected
drumsticks.
them hugely, but they'll change quick because they want to stay on the market. So whatever requirements are made, I'm sure they'll change pretty fast. But yeah, we'll probably have some changes here. I just don't know how big they'll be. I think a lot of companies, with the censorship and stuff like that, they change it, and there isn't a huge adjustment for us. Soulskeeper 60 super chat. Soulskeeper, you single-handedly have allowed me to get some Uncrustables today. I want to say thank you very much, because eggnog and Uncrustables run my life. So I will be buying some because of this super chat. He says, you guys are lifesavers in keeping me sane during the nighttime feedings of the new arrival who decided to climb out 2 weeks early on 24/12. Being in the baby mood, what's your favorite baby in-game footage? I'm between Resident Evil 7 or Yakuza 6 Shaking Simulator. I know Abzi does not
I thought you meant.
Yakuza
I thought you
6.
meant Resident Evil 8. I was gonna be like, whoa, what the fuck is wrong with you?
wait, B111.
Oh shit!
is
he
a-
means- wait, oh no, dude! What the hell?
I know what he means now. Yeah.
Oh no. Dude.
Messiah is my answer for a baby. If anybody hasn't played Shiny's original game, Messiah had a cherub flying around that was a baby. It was creepy as shit.
I guess mine has to be the best roguelike ever made. Obviously, Binding of Isaac. So
I
you
don't
play
even
as a
know.
baby.
Oh, do you play as baby?
Kinda.
Okay.
Yeah.
Baby footage sounds creepy as shit. So I'm saying it's a good super chat.
Yeah.
That's a creepy question. What about you, Asa? What's the
I've
scariest
got
baby?
no idea. I cannot think of a baby in a game.
Sims, where you just treat the baby like hell. I know what he's talking about Yakuza though. The where I know
The
that
baby,
Abzi doesn't agree,
shaking.
but the baby Sim.
Yeah, no, I
baby
do.
shaking.
No.
The
Because you
only
guys made
thing-
it seem like the whole game was holding that baby, but it was only for 15 minutes of the whole entire 30-hour game.
It felt like it to me. Felt like
Yeah,
it.
I
It felt
know, I
like the
know.
entire game was
The
shaking
only
that
thing
baby.
that comes into my head is the difference between Resident Evil 8 8-age on the PlayStation's official VR support and the PC one. I just saw a little comparison video where on the PC one, because it's a user mod and it's not taking quite as much care, you can dip the baby's head in the ketchup, and on the PlayStation one, you can't tip the baby quite as much. But I don't see how that's relevant. And see, as an answer to the question, just the only baby thing that springs to mind is dipping that baby's head in the ketchup.
That's man, games pushing the limits, man.
Don't do it,
J-Ball,
Soul Sleeper. Not with the real one.
$5 super chat. Love the podcast. Thanks for the reviews, ACG. I finally got a chance to catch you guys live as I'm sick in bed at home. Greets from Canada. So we got one guy sick in bed and the other dude who had at least sex once because 9 months ago impregnated his wife and they've got a kid. So congratulations on the kid for sure, man. That's awesome. As somebody who has a 28 birthday tomorrow, right? Tomorrow, today 20. No, tomorrow. I got to tell you, that kid's in for a rough time. So make sure if you do Christmas and birthday presents, don't wrap the present in Christmas paper because trust me, the kid will pretend it's okay, but they're going to remember it forever. And then they're going to wear a beanie and grow a beard and do YouTube. You do not want to do that. It's so terrible, man, having people be like, hey, man, happy birthday. And you get that birthday present. It's wrapped in Christmas paper. And I've had grandparents on accident say Merry Christmas. Come on. Remember me. Remember the time I popped out of my mom's vagina. Grade 851 says, any thoughts on Assassin's Creed Nexus, Arizona Sunshine, and Asgard's Wrath? We are going to talk about those because I brought Asa on purpose so that we could dive in a tiny bit to VR. This has been an okay year. Wouldn't you agree?
It's been a wonderful year comparatively compared to the previous couple of years. VR is in a very difficult place in terms of having a viable ecosystem. And there's always, what was the game? Arizona Sunshine 2 sparked some interesting conversations on game pricing that are very, very difficult in terms of perception and reality. There's lots and lots of challenges within VR, but as someone who's followed it very, very closely since the Rift CV1, there was a little, at the time, everybody complained that all of the games were wave shooters and everyone was really upset by the VR content that was coming. But then that era passed and it became the era of no VR games for several years afterwards. So actually the last couple of months have been refreshing because there have been things to play, which has been beautiful.
And have you liked any of these?
Well, have I liked any of them? So I've not played as much as I should. Asgard's Wrath 2, the one that you mentioned then, is a particularly tricky one because I liked Asgard's Wrath 1. And Asgard's Wrath 2 Asgard's Wrath 1 was a PC game, really, really high end, like 140 gigs as an install, which obviously isn't an indication of quality, but it's an indication of the amount of dev resource that went into it. It was high quality assets everywhere, really high end graphics and all the rest of it. Asgard's Wrath 2 has every bit of effort put into it, but it's Quest native. So it's like comparing modern day games with Switch games. Like the target hardware is way, way lower. And it starts you off in an environment that's shared between the two games. It starts you off in this like central tavern. And the downgrade is like galling to me as someone that played the first one quite recently to be in the same place and to see all the detail just like stripped off of everything. But the game, I've not played enough of it to give a solid verdict, but it seems really polished and really good. And it is part of like a little wave of encouraging little games. So,
yeah, I would say that was the first thing I noticed too, was that you don't want to do that. You don't want to like have any overlap. You just want to start them off new, start them off in like a good looking area, as good as you can get, and sort of have people forget, because that's not the only game that's been downgraded. There was another game. I remember there was a bunch of shit flipped at the developers because they downgraded the actual PC version to the Quest version. And unfortunately, I can't remember the name of the title. But it sort of caused this hubbub because they took a better looking version of the game and they actually downgraded it because the Facebook version was coming out. And they wanted them to look equal. And they said, oh, it's because of multiplayer. It's because, we don't want one group seeing something.
I don't know that specific game, but there's been a few examples. Obviously, the PlayStation VR 2 is a thing as well. And there's been a few examples where games have gone to PlayStation VR 2 that have existed on the PC side of things, like Green Hell is one of them, where the PlayStation VR 2 got essentially the Quest version of it. So it's tricky. Like, there's this perception problem where it's not consumers' fault. Consumers are right to have this perception, but you've got this familiarity, this benchmark of pancake games, normal games that you play on your consoles and PC. You've got this perception of what amount of content you should have for what amount of money. But the whole ecosystem in VR is entirely different because there's just way, way less people to buy them. So people making VR games or building games for a pretty hostile market. People that love VR, but they expect, like, expectations are, you're going to give me a game the size of Spider-Man and it's going to cost no more than Spider-Man, but only a fraction of the people are going to get it. So the economics don't work out. And it's not that the people with that perception are wrong, and it's not that the developers are wrong, but there's a massive mismatch.
Yep.
And it makes it an impossible environment to sustain. And that's unfortunately what happened to First Contact Entertainment this week. The developers of Firewall Ultra shut down, almost certainly because they couldn't find a publisher because the economics don't work.
And Concrete Genie's developer was shut down, and Concrete Genie was one of the best VR games I've ever played for true uniqueness, just a completely, totally unique game, and they got shut down as well. And I've talked to a couple of VR devs who are just, I mean, they've told me, they're like, dude, do you know what it's like selling into an ecosystem with 70 platforms? It's ridiculous to try to get everybody's platform, everybody optimized, everybody set up correctly. All of the dev time, the resolution, frame rate, refresh rate. What refresh rate do you try to hit? You try to hit the super high end, or you try to hit the low end. So, do you have a Pico?
I don't have a Pico. They were really, really cheap this Christmas around here. I didn't even know they sell them in this market, but
I love it.
Really cheap.
Love it. It's my favorite by far. I mean, not my favorite is in power or anything. Obviously, the Reverb and the Varjo are better, but for true side-loading Android shit, it's so funny. It's just like so easy to just side-load anything on those, and there's no closed market of any kind. Well, they have a marketplace, but it's shit. That's the other thing. A lot of these guys try to throw their own market and their own versions of games up, and you're just like, dude, you've segmented it again,
Pico has the same problem as PlayStation as well, where people don't have faith in the support continuing, because Pico, like ByteDance and the owners of TikTok, push out Pico and are developing it as a native platform with an ecosystem with its own games, but also not giving any clear indication that they actually mean to support it for any length of time. And unfortunately, that's the Sony situation as well. Much as I'd love for it to be different, and much as Sony almost have a responsibility for it to be different, you look at those Insomniac leaks that come out, and like most people don't look at it looking for VR content, but for me, Insomniac made 4 brilliant games for Oculus back when they were Oculus. They have a VR studio with like massive, massive capability, and there was not a sniff of it from Sony's first party, and that just seems like, oh, that hurt.
Dude, I don't know about you too. I grew up in the Sega time frame where it's 32X, Saturn, and Dreamcast. And once you live through those, you start looking at any release of any hardware. And I think that is why I treat hardware releases a little different than other, like some people my age who review or whatever. Because I look at that stuff and I'm like, look at the support plan and what you hear and what you see. And you look at devs, you even look at LinkedIn, you talk to devs, and you're like, okay, so I'm not hearing anybody talk about this. And if they're Premiere, like, for example, I always joke about Resistance. Resistance Killzone, to me, sold the PlayStation 4 in a great deal of ways because of the tech that they showed in their trailers, the glass buildings. I was like, dude, just do a Killzone. Just do another Killzone, like, for day one. And instead we got Horizon, which was one janky-ass game. Horizon for VR was all over the place. It was like, oh, it's a Horizon game, but you can't really even move around during battles. You sort of... it's almost like you teleport to different spaces around the enemy. So you just, and I got to admit, from those guys, you would have expected the premiere of the premiere. You'd expected that knockout of the park kind of game, and you don't get it from them. Then you start looking around, and then Portal comes out. And I think a lot of people looked at I don't even talk to people about it, where they were like, well, if I look at PSVR 1, PSVR 2 comes out, it's not backwards compatible, which I got to admit, I don't care. I'm not a part of Sony. I don't give a shit. That's on them. They should have done it. Regardless, you'll hear all this stuff about tech. Don't care. Has nothing to do with me. That you should have released it. It should have been possible. So then when Portal comes out, dude, I had a lot of people who were like, nah, nope. I've lived through, this short release time frame of these systems that aren't supported. I'm not getting a Portal. Like, it's just, even if it
Portal's a
didn't
bit
have the
different,
tech
though, isn't it?
issues.
Because Portal,
It is different, but
they
it's
don't
still
need
a
to
hardware.
support Portal
But they see
in the same way.
In the same way, because it's a native support built in. But that's what I was going to say. The reason about the tech issues that came up with the Portal was you look at the bit rate and you look at the stuff and you look how cheap the items are. We've seen the teardowns. That does cause people don't need to know all the tech to understand bit rate, because we've all got Netflix. We live in a Netflix world, and everybody's seen fucking 5p resolution Netflix where it didn't buffer correctly, and you're watching it going, what the do I have a brain disease? Why does this look so terrible? So they understand that. They understand cell phones now. So you're selling to a slightly more technical proficient group, or at least they understand some of the words. And I'm not talking down to anybody. I'm saying that's where we should be, where you don't need to know everything. You and I may bitch about HDR. Some people are like, what? That's okay. It's okay that not everybody knows everything. But yeah, man, I think that consumer consumer confidence is low in every place. That's one thing I've noticed, and we saw that. I told the guys in the podcast this, and I don't know if you heard, but one of the things I said was, here's how I noticed it was bad. Horizon Forbidden West, I loved. Great game. But I saw this undercurrent start to crop up of, it's just a little bit more Horizon. Yeah, number 2's after it. Of fucking course it is. But at the same time, Spider-Man 2 came out. And I saw a lot of people saying about Spider-Man 2. And I'm not even talking about Sony as a whole. I'm just saying any company, you start to see a little bit of an undercurrent where there's more bugs with some of these. People are like, there's just a pullback. And it could be after the isolation and money's tight, And then we all track the layoffs, and you start going, what does this mean for gaming? What does it mean for support of a product? If all these companies are closing, should I get a new product, or should I wait and hold back because a new ecosystem may not be financially supported by the companies that are supposed to support it? It sucks. I mean, we're in a pretty shitty time. There's just so many
on the plus
layoffs
side,
and so many problems.
Like VR specifically, like I say, it has been dry for 3 years, and then suddenly we get Assassin's Creed, Arizona Sunshine 2, Asgard's Wrath 2, Resident Evil 8, Bulletstorm's about to come out. Like, as VR goes, my goodness, it's refreshing that there are suddenly a few games, and I can't say with any confidence that it's going to carry on beyond these 2 or 3 months. But it's a good 2 or 3 months.
Dude, I had the worst future predictions of VR when Alex came out. When Half-Life Alex came out, I was like, wow.
I remember this.
Dude, even in the podcast, I was like, wow, this is how VR games are going to be from now on. Like, this is the bar. The bar has been set. Nope, not enough market share there to justify any of that. No one's ever going to come close to that quality of a game for VR until there's enough users on it. And that's not going to happen anytime soon because it's too expensive. There's not stuff on it.
There's not stuff on it. And that's what I was going to say is if you track back to what I said earlier, where it takes a developer, they have to know something's being out. We were talking about transparency. We didn't know about Assassin's Creed VR until very quickly prior to its release. That means if a company woke up, right, and saw Assassin's Creed VR, holy shit, let's make a fake Assassin's Creed copy. It takes them 3 years. So that's why you get the space. That's why when it all came up at one time, I wish everybody had supported it then, because that's the platform. The platform is VR, not the headsets. The platform is like this new delivery system. HDR did the same thing. HDR is a nightmare. I sold TVs, and I'm like, dude, even I will tell you straight up, HDR is a fucking Greek tragedy. If you follow HDR, you plug something in, one person's TV that's identical to somebody else's might have completely different settings. And they're like, this is terrible. The games, they don't tell you how to set them up. So all the support that was there didn't get any throughput. And if somebody sees a good HDR game and they want to add, let's say, HDR, it might take them 3 months to get HDR in their game. It might take them longer. And so we have that. We have those kind of situations where these 3 games are great. But I don't think everybody was talking behind the scenes that they were making 3 games 3 years ago. So let's say a year ago they heard, that's still 1 more year. That's still end of 2024. And I'm getting really tired of, dude, I lived through Sega. I think that's where my, because I had a Saturn, man. And I got to tell you, man, when you get your Virtual Fighter and somebody releases Toshinden and you're like, this ain't the same. And they're like, no worries, we're doing Virtual Fighter Remix. Because I remember the day and date I got that fucking game. It was amazing. But it was like 9 months later, you got it for free. But it was like, dude, there's this disparity between these guys are a step ahead all the time. They're a step ahead. And, you know, we hear stories about Half-Life Alyx 2 or fucking Half-Life 4.5, whatever. I don't know what it's called. But it's like, I don't give a shit because I'm telling you right now, I'm not selling any more VR headsets. I don't even suggest them anymore in the channel. I'll do a review for one. Maybe I did a review for the Portal, you know, where I covered it in the podcast. But it's like, I don't feel comfortable. I just don't see like you guys said, there's lack of transparency, so you can't even find out, you know, and you see the leaks for the FTC. That's another thing. Asa's doing what I do, where I'm not necessarily just looking for what they're leaking. I'm looking for what they're not leaking. And when you look at what's out there, nobody's talking about VR. In all of those major documents, you're like, oh, shit. So or Portal even. So you look at them, you're like, there's no like Portal special support. We're going to try to explain, you know, we're going to try to add a special feature to the Portal for this, you know, game that we're doing. Nothing. Nada. Zero.
VR is like NFTs now.
It's like NFTs now. Yeah. Sucks.
I still love it though. I still tell everyone to buy one immediately so that you can play multiplayer games with me. I insist.
Yeah, you selfish bastard.
I'm honest. I'm like, don't come to me expecting a brilliant roadmap of big releases because we're not seeing that. It is what it is, but
I want
the best.
It is VR, dude. I feel personally responsible for like some of the people who got VR in my Discord though, not because I told them to buy it, but because I know that if I'm like, dude, this is fucking awesome, FOMO happens. So I've pulled back a little bit and been like, listen, you know, I just have no clue. I don't even like. It's a nebulous zone of fucking nothingness. And right now, you got these devs all shuddering. Like, by the way, Firewall is considered one of the best VR shooters there is. Like, I heard people talking about the original on the PlayStation. What was that, PlayStation VR, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Dopey Joe wouldn't shut up about it. He's like, dude, this is great. He's like, and I don't mean don't shut up in a bad way. I mean, that's how it hit him. And he's not necessarily super... he doesn't cling to a game and talk about it all the time. And he was with that one. He's not a hype guy. So I was just like, that's interesting. You know, I have certain like barometers of my friends that I track through them. I'm like, okay, this person's talking about this a lot. Maybe I should look at it. And they canceled it, man. And those guys are gone. And so that knowledge is gone. And that knowledge is not being hired by one company. This is another reason why I don't like the instant firings.
The PSVR 2 one that came out this year was my single most disappointing game this year, though. I will say that. And I'm sad that the studio was gone, but that game...
Okay.
Yeah, no, it came out. It came out with a lot of weight on its shoulders because it was published by Sony. So when you look at Sony's roadmap for the device, that game was basically it after launch. Like, well, they've got that one coming out. That should be a big deal. And it's quite horrid to play. They tried to like grandfather the control scheme from PSVR 1. So it does not feel like a VR game to play, which was really, 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 really disappointing. Plus, all the matchmaking and stuff didn't work when it came out. So,
well, thanks for the correction because I didn't even know it was out. That's how bad.
Gone, but
yeah,
I
got you.
I got you. Assassin's Creed looks pretty good though.
Yeah. Assassin's Creed, I've heard
really
weirdly
good.
enough, if I remember, you could correct me on this, but I've heard that Assassin's Creed is good on exploration, but not great on combat. Which I'm like, all right, whatever. But I've heard a lot of people like it. Like it's a good, big AAA company making a VR thing, and it's its own thing, which that's not bad at all. And can't you be different assassins in it? Can't you be like assassins from the various games?
It's like being a VR game is obviously not like full fat like you'd expect. It is more of an homage to Assassin's Creed. So you play the various assassins through different eras, but it is quite full-fledged as a VR game goes. It is impressive for a Quest game, and it uses mixed reality in a really neat way because it's not a mixed reality game, it's a VR game, but in between missions when you're in like the virtual space, then it brings up mixed reality so you can see your room and have like the characters in their holograms talking in front of you before it dips back into VR. It does some cool stuff.
Yeah, because it's a no-brainer, right? Because Abstergo and all that shit, and it's in the game.
It is a no-brainer, and you know the brains are gone because they should have done it 5 years ago. Sorry.
There you go.
Spec you, I think I got it right. PLN, $12. Thank you very much for the super chat, and also thank you for coming into the chat and hanging out with us. It was a blast. Be Confused says, Genesis is still one of the biggest Christmas gifts I remember. I freaked when I opened it and found ghouls and ghosts.
Oh,
Yeah.
That game was hard.
It was, but it was no Strider. I mean, Strider,
Oh,
caused a
dude,
lot of
Ghouls and
bold
Ghosts.
15-year-old kids for losing their
Ghouls
hair.
and Ghosts was hard.
No. What do you mean? Like the worm
Dude.
boss was pretty tough. The guy that you had to jump up and shoot his corpuscles that would pop
Everything,
out.
even the environments where you'd like jump on like a platform and it's like, haha, just kidding. And moves away so you fall
Just
anyway.
kidding. This platform's not there. The best part about those games, especially
No.
Genesis games, well, SNES and Genesis, is they would have the occasional slowdown you could use to get better at the game. So when you jump as him, sometimes you get hit by the armor, and they would do that slow motion effect where the armor shattered off, and you could sort of refresh your brain and go, okay, where are the enemies? Because you'd have that quarter second to like prepare. And true FPS drop where it just wasn't able to perform. But yeah, man, those are good days. Yeah, Genesis was also my first Christmas gift as a kid, says Sailor Mercury. I got Sonic 2. What were you guys' what was like, let's not call it your favorite console. Yeah, I guess what's your not favorite console, but is there a console that's like your your
favorite
best
time period?
Yeah,
your favorite like
yeah, I
gaming
guess
time
that's
period?
what I mean. Yeah, like it doesn't have to be the best or 360.
360 for sure, because I don't feel a tie-in to any like piece of hardware ever. Like I don't feel like a fully invested in any piece of hardware now. Where
You ain't
some
macking
people
it at
are,
night
they
when the lights turn
love their
off.
PS5. Yeah, but with the 360, I was up in its ass, dude. I loved Xbox Live. I thought it had amazing UX design. Everything worked. I would get in a party, get in games. The community was awesome. Obviously I loved the toxic shit. I loved the non-toxic shit. Met people because it was like the start of the popularity of online gaming as well. So you'd go into like a co-op game like Perfect Dark and meeting some dude from like across the world, and you're like, holy shit, I'm just playing with this person and we're friends now. And Xbox Live was just like a really magical time, and the games that kept coming out on it was like co-op and multiplayer, and there's a lot of cool stuff, a lot of fun to be had. That's when like connecting people came and stuff, and it was just a great system. Yeah,
I agree with that. That's a hard one to top. But Asa, do you have one?
For me, like Sonic 2 was what got me really massively invested into consoles. But if you were to chart it from Sonic 2 through to whatever's coming in the future, my levels of engagement and excitement in games, it's been like just above the maximum line the entire time. I've just had a great time with games for my entire life, pretty much. There's certain things like the first 3 years of the 360 were brilliant, like banger after banger after banger. That was an amazing time. The Dreamcast that got me into online games in the first place, and had some real like defining games that set my tastes going forwards from then and forever. Massive things, yeah.
People here are saying 360, PS2, 360. It's mostly
PS2 was
360.
insane, man. PS2 had a lot of games. Oof.
I'm trying to remember like a magical. I think 360 was magical also. It was probably 360.
That's 3 years. After that, it sucked. After Too Human, it sucked.
After they changed, I didn't like when they changed blades into the new me shit, and everything changed, and they started coming out with Connect and stuff, and everything was different. It's like, what are you guys doing?
Dr. Scotty says, tough one. Atari was my first, but Commodore 64 was wild, traveling across towns, hole punching and copying floppies from kids you just met. Yeah, dude, man. That was what I was actually going to go back to, is Apple IIe, which is ancient, but Apple IIe was fucking Conan, Bard's Tale. I remember playing Bard's Tale and just being like, what the, and the same music, just dun, 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 dun. They had the track that was like 6 seconds long, and it just repeated forever. And you'd be like, it's the best music ever. The first time they faked a voice in Sega Master System, and I was like, this is perfect. And now you listen to it, it's like, but you still knew what it meant. I don't know what was going on. Well, they did subtitles. I do know that. Yeah, 360 was, dude, 360 was stupid. I know you say the first 3 years, but I don't agree with that in the fact that there were games later, just not the huge, tight.
There were really good games later, yeah. I was just talking about like the Xbox Live ecosystem or
There are
whatever.
2 things that blew me away with the 360 that one was a lie and one was real. The lie was I bought in the PR of Oblivion, and they were showing pictures from the PC version, but it was in the Xbox magazine. It had the long fields of grass, and I was like, I was at work, ignoring work. I was like, yeah, don't worry about that alarm. Look at fucking Oblivion, man. I was showing everybody the magazine. I think it was Next Gen magazines. Yeah, and I was like, dude, That's a dude, you can do everything, and it was just like next level. The game, by the way, was still awesome. It was awesome. But then the real one, and to this day, dude, I remember thinking there's no fucking chance that's a real game, and that's Dead Rising. They were showing pictures of the zombie numbers in Dead Rising. I was like, fake. No fucking way. No way they have 10,000 or whatever they had, 1,000 maybe even 200. But they had a ton of zombies on screen, and I was like, it's just not possible to do what they say. And when I turned on Dead Rising, we started playing, and you're in like a mall, and you just see zombies forever, and you're like, and I can interact with them? Oh my God. And I don't think any PS2 game ever hit me like that.
No, dude, for me, it was Gears, man. When I saw the first time Gears was running on it, and I was like, this is next gen. This is the next gen. I was like, damn.
I told you I had Susan leave from work to buy it because we were looking at the pictures, my coworker, and I was like, there's no way the game looks that good. It's just not possible. And I was playing it going, yeah, game looks that good. Like,
and when I found out I could put it in 1080i
1080p,
instead
yeah.
of
1080i instead of 720. Yeah, dude, it was so great. Sorry, Asa,
when I say the first 3 years, though, the first 3 years of the 360 was like Gears, Oblivion, Dead Rising, Mass Effect, BioShock, Halo. Like, it was freaking incredible. And for the first 3 years, everything was gold that was coming out. Until 2 Human, which
Fallout 3
looked like it was going to be gold because the concept was brilliant.
Yeah.
But,
dude, 2008 was amazing, dude. Fallout 3,
2008.
Saints Row 2.
Yep.
Saints
Row,
Fable,
the Saints Row
Fable 2.
Jay Reaper says, $5 super chat. OG Xbox was the most nostalgic for me, whether great or not. Dude, the first Xbox, having a hard drive, and those were good times, man. I mean, all these are good, but I remember I got Dead Rising on the Wii. I was expecting 10,000 zombies per second. Never happened. It was an RE4 style port. I didn't even remember there was a port.
I didn't know there was Dead Rising on Wii. Damn.
There was a zombie game on the Wii U. Do you guys remember where you used the Wii U like a backpack?
Zombie Z or something. Wii Z.
Yeah, no, I think it was.
Z.
Yeah,
Zombie U. Zombie
U.
Yeah, Zombie U.
Yeah, I saw that.
Man, dude, speaking of pot, Nintendo's been on it for years, man.
Yeah, dude, what kind of name is Wii U? Dude, I thought it was like an expansion for Wii or some shit.
I thought it was a sex toy, man. I had no clue.
What bad naming, man. That was so bad.
And they knocked it out of the park. Dude, I had one, and I played it, and I actually liked the motion. You know, it wasn't even real motion. You know, it wasn't even really sensing the exact stuff. But yeah, I mean, I played it. But it's good. And remember, dude, the best was, I remember going over to friends, and he's like, I got the GameCube. And I'm like, what the fuck's that? Like, it sounded like some Chinese knockoff or some, GameCube. What the fuck?
I had it too. It had a handle.
And it had a handle. And you're like, dude, nobody's going to bring cables still have to go. Like, what? And then I played some of the games, and I was like, dude, this is beyond
Luigi's
solid.
Mansion looked amazing.
There was a lot of games on that. And it was the N64. It was the good I know this pissed people off. It was a good version of the N64, because the N64 took a while to get some of the games other than obviously the first party, but it took them a while to get it capable on the cartridge, because I think that was rough.
Yeah. Remember, every game that was ported to N64 had a 64 next to it, like Doom 64.
Oh yeah, dude, 64. Come on, that's such the.
And they'd be different a little bit. They'd be
there'd always be
different games.
I think it was it not Doom 64 that had extra levels even, or something where like they could
entirely different.
And Duke Nukem 64 was entirely different.
Duke Nukem 64. Yeah, those were.
I loved that
game.
I loved that game.
I remember, because I didn't even know it. Like I told you, like I don't even have any touch with drugs. And I remember living with a friend, and he was a big pot smoker, and I would go in his room and go, man, this room always smells really weird. You know, like I never picked up on it.
Like a skunk.
Yeah, a little bit, but a little sweet, smoky weed. Yeah. And I go in there.
Oh, he's smoking some sativa.
So N64 has a smell to me, and that's the smell. I would go. That's my memory. So I would go in, and I would. He had hockey. He had hockey, and maybe it was a hover beater bike game, or
jet ski. The jet ski game. I love that game.
Where it had like Mountain Dew as a skin. Yeah. What was
yeah. What was it called?
Wave Race 64.
Yeah, Wave Race.
Wave Race 64.
Dude, so the first time I went in there, I was like, smells a little sweet in here, like a candle. And then I saw him playing. I was like, whoa, what the fuck's this? And, they always looked a tiny bit rough, but they had other things going for them. And I remember hearing 64 for years, Mario, the echo in the buildings would be like, burp, 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 burp. And I was just like, oh, shit, that is like, there was a magical thing to it, even though I don't like Mario. I just remember, when you know a game, even if you don't like it, you're like, dude, that's some fucking quality right there. Like, that's the way I felt with Mario. Even though it didn't, to me, there were some issues with textures and stuff. I was like, damn, that looks like it's huge. And people are still doing speed runs now and finding shit. So obviously, I should have probably got
Super
one.
Mario 64. I love that. I think it's still like the best platformer ever made.
It might be. I mean, it might. What other games?
Just from a pure like movement, you know, just pure what you can do with just the tool set they give you. It's like an immersive sim, dude. Sorry.
It's an immersive platformer.
No, seriously, like you could do so much. People are still finding stuff out now. Like speed.
I hated it so much.
Whoa,
it's hard.
I'm gonna let my dogs out. I'm listening. Let's dive into this moment that's gonna forever solidify you as the never fight back guest.
I hated it because I liked 2D platformers and I liked games, and Mario 64 was like pioneer of 3D platforming gaming, and it fucking sucked to me. I remember going to a demo station in the local store and looking at it and going, wow, this is just hurting my eyes. It's very, very bright and very, very bland. There's a big open field, there's a castle over there, and there's one single enemy in this entire freaking field, and I hated it so much.
But
and I know that it's beloved and everyone loves Mario 64.
You're like pinky up, you're like, I want them to go back to being 2D. 3D sucks.
See, you're saying the movement though, you love the movement, but if you go back and play it now, everybody that goes back and plays it now, they go, wow, this felt shit. They've all come around.
It's hard.
Just ahead of my time.
I've tried. I've tried. I was watching a lot of speedruns and I was like, listen, I'm gonna download this emulator right here. I'm gonna try to get fucking 112 and never gonna see a 114, 113. And then I walk 2 steps, I'm like, oh shit, I'm walking in the wrong direction. I can't control the guy. You know what I mean? But when you see a speedrun, dude, and you see how they control him, it's like Rocket League. You're like, how are they doing this? You know?
Yeah.
You know what else? You know how a game is really good too is other people try to copy it, and Sega probably killed their chances many times with additional consoles because they tried to hit Mario 64 so many times. They were spending so much money trying to do Sonic Extreme. I remember talking to somebody who worked at Sega, and he's like, dude, they're spending like millions trying to make Sonic into Mario. It was ridiculous. And you go back and read all these stories about them and all these versions they tried, and they just could not hit it. They even had a demo, very short amount of time, for Sonic Extreme, and then Sonic R Racing on the Saturn, which was terrible.
I remember that one.
It was terrible, but I liked it because I wanted to show. I was like, I get where they're going.
Yeah.
I get where they're planning for this, but it was terrible. Shit would appear 1 foot in front of you, when you were running. But it had all the characters.
Not elegantly. Like the N64 had its fog, but the Saturn just had pop.
Oh, dude, it's like zabap into your face. And
big panel just pop.
I mean, if you look and you read the behind-the-scenes books on Sega and Nintendo, you realize how much they wanted to one-up each other. And Sega one-upped them on the extreme stuff with Mortal Kombat Heaven Blood. Like, they were very smart on the Americana shit. But once these companies start seeing one another and start copying, it doesn't always work. And I don't know, man, they just were not able to hit it. They were at all. Like they
still haven't figured out Sonic, to be fair, have they? Like,
yeah, I keep saying that, dude. I've been saying that for years.
Space Channel 5 says Knights was the best Sega platformer. Thank you. Knights into Dreams, and especially when you turn it on to the different dates for Christmas, and there were a couple other dates where it would replace all the graphics. So good. Yeah.
And then Sony comes in with their Crash Bandicoot. Hey, Crash was sick though. Crash was fun. And then there was like Crash
worse than all of them.
Crash
Who thinks it's a good idea to run
Crash is way better than Sonic
in a platform game? Get out.
Yeah, the camera was
Crash
terrible.
Was better than Sonic. Sonic, there was one good Sonic game.
Wait, what? What? There wasn't one good Sonic game. What's happening? What is that?
Come on.
I feel like I left and walked into an alternate Marvel dimension where Captain America died.
I like Sonic Heroes.
Dude, Sonic,
the
Sonic
2D
2
Sonic
was great.
was fun.
Sonic 1 was great. Sonic 2 was good. Sonic 3D was good.
Yeah, but they're all in like one package now, so I count them as like one game.
Well, I mean, now, come on.
You know what I mean? 1 and 2 is, you know what I mean? But like still, like they had so many bad Sonic games.
They did.
Like, so many.
You can get the 360
I love the one on the
version and plug it on
Dreamcast,
top
but it was
and plug it on top.
terrible.
Yeah, Sonic Adventure is
open
one of those
world
games that when you play it, you're like, dude, you ain't ready, man.
Yeah.
You know? It's like them. Anakin's like, I want to be a council member, and they're like, dude, you're a dumbass. You ain't mature enough. That's Sonic Adventure. Sorry.
Yeah.
But like that is really ready, or he ain't ready, man. I remember playing. By the way, so Croc, Legend of the Gobos. Thank you, old boy. That game was awesome, and it was one of those copies of a platformer. It was Croc. That was just his name, Croc. It was like where they were like, let's get a platformer out as quick as possible, and I enjoyed the hell out of it. I'm actually trying Sonic Adventure 2.
I'll tell you how they make a good Sonic game. And seriously, like, because Sonic, they've always struggled because Sonic's really fast, which makes it quite difficult to make it
like, what would you
endearing
do?
and fun as a game. I would look at Rayman Legends musical levels and make Sonic rhythmic, play it as a vibe.
Yeah,
so
I
that
love
you can take those senses out of it.
Yes, good one.
That's how Sega fixed Sonic.
Yes,
Stick
you got
with
the
2D
answer right
though,
there.
right?
Yes.
Stick with 2D.
That would legitimately work, I reckon. But
not 3D, right? You're talking about 2D. Stick it 2-dimensional.
Either whichever direction they take Sonic, you need to take out the sight as the main way that you're perceiving the action.
Rhythmic would be great
rhythmic.
for it because there's no other thing you can do other than like just have it be rhythmic. I don't think like you can't have mechanics in that fast that are fun and engaging other than like tapping A.
And Rayman Legends, if somebody hasn't played it, just try the musical levels in that game and you'll understand that would work.
I mean, I don't know. Sonic seems like a product of its time.
Like what do you do with Sonic?
Right. Kill him, yes.
Yeah, kill him. Yeah, kill him and have his daughter come in like Gears. I just, dude, it's okay. It's okay sometimes to say this thing is a thing from that time, and we'll do our remakes or whatever,
like
and
Halo.
that's okay. Yeah. Well. Yeah, Jesus, man, I said this was going to be a positive podcast, and we're just neutering my entire childhood right now. Fuck, I need to go to. I need to schedule time with my wife to do a psychology, like sit down and talk about my problems. Show me on the Sonic doll where they touched you. Yeah, I don't know, man. No. Like when you look at like Sonic, I think it's okay to say it's its time frame. That's fine.
Yeah.
You know, I would love to see them just do another Sonic one, just 2D and stick it 2D and play it. Make some new levels, but I agree that I think the rhythmic might work. I guess I'm not really understanding. Like, would you bounce off some fucking, some drums or shit?
What do
like,
you?
What do you mean by like musical?
Rayman is like a vibe. Like, there's too much going on in the level. If you were trying to play as a platformer and just perceive everything that was happening, it wouldn't work. But naturally, if you relax and get into the music and play to the beat, it all just happens. And it's
like you dodge
beautiful.
At the beat
Rayman Legends is beautiful.
This is when you and I would be in a conference room talking, and I'd be like, "You're gonna have to draw it on the whiteboard."
I would struggle to draw it on a whiteboard.
I sort of get it. I just, I don't know. That was my biggest problem with Sonic. I loved it, but there was a lot of stop and go in Sonic too. You know, you could get if you stop. I guess what I'm saying is, if you did stop, there was something about Sonic that if you did stop, it really felt like a stop. Like it was really. Not punishing, but it really ruined all the fun. So I sort of do get the idea of that. Also an Eternal Runner, those kind of games. You know, I would be okay with a wave chasing you and Sonic's going to drown.
Or they should make it like Jet Set Radio, where you're just like fucking grinding on rails and shit and doing cool tricks and stuff.
Dude, a Jet Set Radio with Sonic characters just in a grind Tony Hawk. Dude, that's actually... that would work. Some characters are fast. Tails is useless and dies right starting. I'd be fucking all for that.
Yeah.
Tails is one of the worst characters ever. See, that's another thing. Sonic's
I
like,
thought
let's
Tails was a
introduce
girl
everybody.
for like the longest time, dude.
Tails isn't a girl?
No, it's a guy.
Oh, well, I didn't lift up the fur to check. I didn't.
I mean, like, just yeah.
I didn't track that. I didn't track him as male. I mean, what is Sonic? Sonic's a male. Yeah. I mean,
they're
sort
all
of.
male.
Yeah. Okay. I never tracked that. But I just don't think I thought about that when I was at that age. You know, I did actually, because some games you knew they were female.
That's back when the games were ruled by the patriarchy. So.
Yeah, there we go. Yeah, completely political change the podcast. Sonic Mania was about as good as it gets. That's Flexing Mecha who says that. Sonic Mania.
Yeah. What? Oh, is it the new one? Oh, dude. Yes. What? Remember Sonic Mania?
I do not. Like that's why I'm looking like this. I don't normally go, do I?
I think you were on TB's podcast when you guys talked about it like a long time ago, dude. I still remember. Sonic Mania had just come out and he went on TB's podcast.
Oh, not an old one. This is
no,
this is
it's the newer.
Okay. Right. Sorry, I was back in time. Yeah.
It's a newer 2D one though, with like a lot of cool levels and shit.
Yeah, I'm all for that. Sticking it sort of in the old days. Stick it in the old hole. Tom, $5 super chat. Thank you for these Xmas streams. It's not Xmas, buddy, but I think you mean holiday. If you think it's Xmas, that was 2 days ago. They've helped personally a lot over the years. Also, big up to Asa. He's a sweetheart. Ooh.
Oh yeah, it's your birthday here, by the way. Happy birthday! It's 12:30 a.m. here.
Birthday.
Me? Oh yeah, tomorrow. Yeah. Or tonight, yeah.
Tomorrow's today. Yep.
It's 12:30 a.m. for you. God damn, you're ahead of time. You're in New Zealand and shit. Thank you.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah, thank you.
I got game releases early.
I know shit, right? That's like one of the reasons. Like whenever we were just talking to friends, they were like, "Would you want to move somewhere?" And I said New Zealand for games, and I forgot I was talking to two people who never turned on a game system, and they just went.
Shit.
I was all nothing.
Be like, oh, for the Lord of the Rings thing.
Yeah,
you know?
No, that's what I said. That's exactly what I said. I said, oh, well, I mean, like Lord of the Rings, because they filmed them there. That would be cool. It looks pretty. And then I was like, okay, I got to panic and get out of here. I got to pee. Yeah. I'll be back in a bit. Shit. I spent a ridiculous amount of time on Champions of Noroth 2 on PS2. That was a sweet, unbelievable game. That was another thing the 360 and PlayStation 2 were known for, was the pseudo 3D isometric smashers. I don't know if you guys remember those.
Yeah.
That was big in the day.
Lords of the Rings games and stuff. Lord of the Rings.
Lord of the Rings. There was 2 or 3 more, but they were big into the pseudo gauntlet.
A lot of movie games,
almost like Gauntlet.
Yeah, pseudo gauntlet. Yes, there was
fake
a lot of
them. Legolas would
like
show
co-op.
up. They'd call him like Aegolas, but he looked identical to Legolas, and you'd be like,
and they were for some reason very difficult.
Yeah, right. They're like Lord of the Rings, motherfucker, man.
Dude, remember when they released a fucking Lion King game for kids, which was like the hardest like 2D platform.
It was hard, but Aladdin was a nut
Aladdin.
I remember one of the same friend who bought me Gears. She came to work one day and she's like, and she would throw a fit. She would do the hand thing. I hate this game. And I'd be like, what game? She's like, Aladdin. And I was like, what? Aladdin? It just sounded easy. So I borrowed it.
No.
Nah. That was the Dark Souls of platformers. Fuck whoever made that game.
Those were hard, man.
That game was that game was hard, man. I almost spit my mint out. That game was rough. That and Strider can die.
Strider, dude. Strider, I loved Strider, man.
I mean, I liked it, but it was rough. Space Channel 5 says, I'd like a Sonic game where he's an intrepid space reporter and fights off an alien invasion through the power of dance. I get the joke. I think Space Channel 5 was ahead of its time. When you think about it, a rhythm game, dancing game, music, unique graphics. Space Channel 5 was pretty ahead of its time. I think they did a good job on that game. That was it for that. I don't even know where we started. Oh, VR. Here we go. And Great Babe says, Happy New Year's, but he also asks, wondering if grabbing the Quest 3 is worth it before the end of the year. Nobody's answering that. Nobody's answering that. If you have a bunch of free money and you'll never notice it, shut up. Don't do this to me. I don't want to hear him because he'll be in the chat, and he also has a lot of tech issues. Almost every night I see him post a tech issue and I don't want to hear him being like, well, I tried the Quest. Oh no, he had another.
But forget my name.
Yeah. My name's KARAK, and I endorse this message. Rick Flair says, hope you all had a good Christmas. Best flat screen VR mod you've tried? That's a good question. Flat. So what he means, so anybody watching is taking a flat screen game, turning it to VR. Have you tried any of these, Asa?
Quite a few. I'd still consider Skyrim one of those. It had an official VR version, but modded, like you have to mod the crap out of it to make it a good game. So
agreed.
Skyrim has to be the best of those. The Resident Evil games are very, very good in VR. Really good mods.
Mods or official for 7 on PSVR.
Yeah, 7 was amazing.
Yeah, and 8 and 4 on the PSVR 2 as well have official VR support.
Oh,
Capcom are carrying a lot of weight for that.
Yeah, Capcom's holding the torch, man.
But the VR modes, like the mods on PC, as mods go, they feel like VR games. They've done a fantastic job of giving you proper hands and controls on the PC mods. So those are the ones to go for. And then like watch Prey Dog's UE VR mod for loads of games coming next year, hopefully.
Yeah.
It's a shame that modders have to kind of bloat the catalog, but it is going to bloat well if that pans out. So.
Tamo says, ACG, sorry, I meant holiday streams. I know you did. I was just teasing you, bro. I was just teasing you because I think Citizen Sleeve announced Merry Christmas for 4 days in a row. So it was just a long drawn out joke about somebody in our Discord. But yeah, I knew you didn't think it was Christmas. I mean, or I assumed you did. Eternal says, what about the reverse? Sometimes you just don't want to play VR, but you're interested in a VR game. Oh, VR to flat screen. Is there a mod for that?
Those don't work.
Those don't.
There's mods for VR to flat screen for Half-Life Alyx, because obviously people want to see the Half-Life lore and universe.
Yeah.
But it becomes a bad game if you're not playing it in VR. So it doesn't work so well the other way.
Wow.
True.
That's interesting. You mean becomes a bad game as in you see the
because
problems?
VR games...
sorry. Go ahead, Abzi.
Sorry. No, because I feel like VR games are VR. The VR is the good part of it, and then the mechanic, and then everything else is like lesser than any other game, right?
Yeah.
like it's not like a real full game usually.
That was
like,
going to be my comment. Yeah.
Yeah.
The VR takes the immersion part and makes it easier, even if they do it even somewhat correctly. And that's one of the biggest problems. Like whenever I'm talking to anybody about VR, you can have the best HDR, the best screen, but it's always looking outside into the rain. And if you do VR, you're out in the rain. And I cannot describe what it's like. You have a good headset, it's light, you're not sick. See, I'm already starting to list the bad things. But when you get a VR momentarily and you play some amazing moment in a VR game, Cyberpunk has some really good... I've been able to get Cyberpunk running pretty well in VR. And there's some times where you're looking around going, this is awesome. You know, this like feels immersive. You didn't agree right away with me, Asa, on Cyberpunk.
I didn't have much luck with Cyberpunk. So Cyberpunk you can do is so there's a chap called Luke Ross who mods a lot of games. You can get some big ones like Elden Ring and things like that to work in VR. But he staunchly refuses to do VR controls. So they don't play with your hands and things. It puts you in VR, but it maintains like keyboard and mouse or Xbox controller support or whatever. Cyberpunk in particular, though, I never managed to get an image quality that I liked on it. So I'd be curious how you managed to make it.
Did you see that he had also...
For me, the ghosting was...
Right, and he patched in the fix last month. I don't know if you saw that, the anti-ghosting fix of
I know that he
Way.
updated it for Phantom Liberty.
Yeah.
But I don't know if he updated it for the ghosting.
Yeah, the new version of the alternate eye thing he calls
alternate eye rendering, yeah.
Alternate. He fixed it, and they showed the difference between Cyberpunk with the old version and with the new, and it's pretty impressive.
I know what I'm doing after this then.
Yeah, you might want to check it out. I mean, because I'd like to hear if that's a thing. Moving on from there, what else do we got? Let's talk about good stuff. I've said that 3 times. Let's talk about. Oh, did you guys?
Half-Life 2, by the way. Sorry, I know we're moving on, but Half-Life 2's VR mod is freaking awesome as well.
Oh shit! Really?
The whole of Half-Life 2 perfectly hand controls user mods.
Really?
Phenomenal.
Oh. Yeah, so Half-Life 2 was the first, not the first time, but the first major time I was violently ill from a flat screen.
Really?
And yeah, it was when you're in that boat and it wasn't running at the best FPS when you're in that little swamp dinghy thing. And I got really ill playing that game. I still really liked it. Great game. Half-Life 2 is great, but yeah. I was just going to say, did you guys see that fucking Amazon Prime's adding a $3 subscription to go ad-free?
Pre-order?
Yeah, pre-ordering ad-free. You got some balls, man. I got to hand it to him. That's some ballsy motherfuckers to be like, dude, you got to pre-order something you already have for later so that you don't have what you already have. Like, that's, I don't know. That's courageous in this day and age. So good for them for being just solid.
They need to take a look at the gaming industry, because we've like gaming publishers have been trying to figure out why anyone would pre-order a digital game for a while. Like Amazon needs to say like, pre-order this and we'll give you better colored subtitles or something like that.
Oh man, no, please! What the hell? That's a bad take, man. Don't listen. Amazon's scraping this video right now.
They're not listening, I'm sure. Why would you pre-order a subscription service?
Dude, yeah, whatever. I mean, these companies are seeing the crunch, right? The streaming companies. I mean, we're seeing it. It's going back to cable, which is weird. And the commercials are terrible. I did want to point out that I saw something cool this last week. So some good news. I admittedly did not think this was going to be enjoyable. Aquaman 2 was very fun. Went and saw it in the theater. Solid movie. Not great. Didn't smash the world, but it has one of the best meta one-liners at the end I think I've seen. And if this is the last one before they destroy everything and try to recreate DC, it had one of the better last one-liners that I've seen. Like, it happened, and everybody in the theater was like, "Oh, that was a shot." They shot at Marvel. It was very good.
Damn.
Yeah, it was, and it's Jason Momoa. So even the way he delivered it was great. It was a solid movie.
Cool.
It was very mummy-like. Very mummy-like.
I heard Zack Snyder made a Star Wars movie.
It's terrible.
The Rebel Moon thing.
Yeah.
What?
We watched it 2 nights ago. It's no, dude. No one in the world will say that's a good movie. It is that bad.
Yeah.
It is a travesty, man. You need to watch it.
It has lightsabers, right?
Bro.
Like what?
Legally distinct.
And there's rebels and
lightsabers.
Empire. Like, is it a parody? Like, or
it feels like
has
a
to be a
parody,
right?
Like it feels like a
of Star
parody.
Wars?
They have ripped off it. Like I said, it is like asking a 7-year-old at a table who's drawn with crayons what they're drawn, and the kid is like, "Well, it's a unicorn, and the unicorn has space cyber genetics, and it can transform. It's got DNA, and then there's a force. It's got everything."
Yeah.
Dude, he even bows to the bird like Hogwarts. There are so many copies. I do not understand how multiple companies are not going after this movie. It is the days before of movies. It copies.
Oh my goodness.
And I mean that. I'm not joking. Anybody who's seen it will know what I mean. It copies so many movies, so many fucking moments from movies. We were watching it going, "Oh my God." They copied that too. It's copy after copy. Dude, it's all copy. It is epic in just how bad it is, man. It is honestly
cool,
legitimately worth seeing.
I'll give it a go.
Someone correct me if I'm wrong, but wasn't that initially pitched as a Star Wars series and Disney rejected
and then Disney
it?
rejected
They decided
it.
this series is
Disney
good enough
probably
to do without
rejected
the
it because it
IP.
had nothing to do with Star Wars either. There's Star Wars, Star Trek, Hogwarts, Gladiator, the Vikings TV series, and we're talking shot-for-shot moments that he ripped. Like, I know that he used bots to get the sniper. So that's been completely tracked down and investigated. The dude is a complete POS, and we know he did that. But I thought maybe it was gonna be like his
redemption.
Yeah, or so. It is amazingly bad. It is phenomenal. Like it's like having really good herpes and you want everybody to get it. It is.
Is it though?
It's terrible.
Like
acting
9
too.
years old and you've never seen any of these other things. Could it be good?
No. So that was one of the first things I asked. I have family members with kids. They had seen it. They were the ones telling me this is terrible. And so I watched it anyway, like an idiot. And it is that bad. Honestly, it deserves a -5 out of 1 to 10. It is.
What's it doing at Rotten Tomatoes? Let's see.
Oh, I don't know. Anybody else seen it? Some of the acting really tugged at my heartstrings. All right, here we go.
What was it called? Rebel Moon?
Yeah, Rebel Moon.
Mm-hmm.
And it was so funny because I had everybody being like 24 out of 100. Yeah, that's Rotten Tomatoes, which means really bad people can go in there and try to vote it high, and they couldn't even fix it. It's horrendous, man.
Critics 24%, audience 64%. What
that
the
makes
heck?
more sense with audience. That makes more sense with audience, I think. Especially because he copied so many other movies. I mean, copied.
So people are probably like, "Oh,
dude."
I think there's Zack Snyder fans for some reason too, right?
Or he's using a bot like he used with the Snyder Cut to get the Snyder Cut made. Like nothing he ever does can you trust ever again.
Because the last movie I liked by him was the zombie one back in when he was good.
The zombie one.
The zombies in the mall.
Dude, did he do Days of the Dawn of the Dead, the remake, or with Vin Rhames or Vin Rhymes? Dude, that was a great movie.
Wait, what did Zack Schneider or Snyder? Schneider is an electric company. Dawn of the Dead, yeah. Okay. Dawn of the Dead was sick. That's the last movie by him. As
Rodiko says, Rebel Moon says it's part 1. Yeah, dude, I love it. I cannot wait for part 2. Like it is.
Is it like Morbius? Morbin time.
No. Let me tell you this: as a purchaser of almost every single B movie ever, as a lover of the worst movies ever, this is equal, if not worse, than Hawk the Slayer. And if anybody knows B movies, they know exactly what I'm talking about. It is. It freed my soul a little bit because I just saw it and I'm like, wow, like all this money and everything, and we got this. Like it is.
Yeah.
Unique. Oh my god, I just remember something.
Has he made a good movie other than
Dude,
his
I
first
just remembered
movie,
something. I
though?
can't believe it's in a movie. What'd you say?
Oh, he did 300. Okay,
Yeah.
never mind. I like 300.
I thought
Director,
300 was
okay.
pretty okay.
300.
Yeah.
They were pretty good, man. It was Leonidas and shit.
Yeah.
No?
Yeah. But yeah,
Yeah.
there's a reason why this is scoring so bad. It is, man, it is.
Oh, he did Sucker Punch. Remember Sucker Punch?
You know, Sucker Punch. So I saw Sucker Punch late, like 10 years late.
Yeah.
Probably because of the schoolgirls, and I didn't know that was what it was about.
Yeah, it's not an anime.
It's
There's
not
no
an anime.
shit going.
But there was some
Yeah.
cool boss. There was some cool, like they were in one of her dreams, and they were fighting like World War II trenches. You know, it's all slow motion, right? Like you have to know that's gonna happen. But yeah, it was.
Oh yeah, I heard Watchmen was good too. I never seen it.
Watchmen was okay. Yeah, Watchmen was okay. Dawn of the Dead remake, Dr. Skotsky says, was his first movie. Well, I'll tell you what, he spat it all out.
Like, he just shit it all out.
He spat it all out. Yeah. Yeah.
Wait,
it was,
no, he's done.
It was terrible.
Like, music videos. Never mind.
What else do we got before we wrap it up? First of all, I want to say thanks to everybody who showed up, because I know that in the end, you're probably busy hanging out with family and stuff like that. So, well, maybe I should say, maybe you should thank me.
Yeah.
Actually, I love my family. I have a good time.
Mm.
That's sort of a trope, right? To say that you go and visit family and you absolutely hate it. I actually like visiting my family. They're pretty cool. I mean, obviously they didn't kill me. What do we got for your channel, Asa? You doing anything amazing? Like, you doing any new videos, or you just sticking to your stuff until January rolls around?
I definitely plan to do some more of the reviewing, but my reviews always come late. They're quite good, the ones that I've already done. So if anyone's like already played Spider-Man or Immortals of Avium or anything like that and wants to get a bit of a deep dive into them, I've got some videos there.
Cool.
I have been revamping all of my streaming and stuff, because I've come to the realization that the people that turn up every Thursday to talk to me are kind of what makes my channel cool. So I'm leveraging that more and doing much more just talking to people, because that's my kind of special. That's the vibe of my channel. So lots more streams and things like that. I'm also vaguely back on Twitch, but Twitch is a little bit messy. So just carrying on with all that kind of stuff, having a good time with it.
Dude, that's a good pivot, dude. I saw a dude on Twitch literally blow up from like 50 viewers to right now he's around 10K by literally focusing more on talking to people, talking to chat, and then making them shorts and putting them on YouTube. And he went from like 10,000 subscribers to now he's like at 1.1 million.
Yeah, I will say that's one of the big problems with shorts is, and I was warned about this, that shorts can get subscribers, but not for long form. And boy, is that right.
Mm-hmm.
That is, dude, it's almost like its own like ecosystem. Even though there isn't really a dividing line, I did a couple of videos that actually did pretty good for somebody just randomly uploading something that wasn't specific for it, and a couple of the 60-second reviews. One or two hit really well, and I got more subscribers sometimes for those, but I can legitimately tell who's returning for those and who's and you can also see recurrent viewers and stuff. But it's just a different ecosystem, man. And it really is. It's like anybody who wants to do it, you either have to have a really big fan base, or maybe your stuff is better as shorts, which is possible, or you have a good editor. Editing is always really difficult, even for us doing timestamps. I always get people the moment we post this live, because we don't turn it to a video. I just post the podcast live. People are like, dude, your first 10 minutes are a music video. And I'm like, yeah, because you can't edit it until it goes live, and then edits take 6 hours in YouTube. So sometimes your stuff just fits better. I was going to say with Asa, I'm doing the same thing. I mean, I'm reviewing Nothing's Ever Stopping, same exact number of reviews, but I have been touching up the stream stuff, because it's like, okay, there's some people who take time for a Wednesday or a Friday to show up, or who listen later. So it's like, it's probably best to fix this or that in whatever way you can. So it's good to do that. And those will probably go to I think podcast stuff has a higher chance of going and helping out your long form videos than shorts do, at least for now. I did miss a super chat. Somebody reminded me, and I want to thank you very much. Rudica, $2 super chat. Did you guys see the new Fallout London trailer? That's for the mod.
Yeah.
What'd you think?
Yeah, I'm surprised it's coming out. Usually those big ass mods are, but it looks great, man. It looks really good. They have so many quests going, so many main quests, side quests, faction quests. I'm gonna download Fallout 4 and for sure try that out. I wonder if it's coming to the VR version.
Oh, dude, I mean, I don't know. Like,
I don't know.
you could hack it, right? I mean, I would
guess so,
assume
right?
if they've hacked the other Fallouts, it won't be like official. Obviously, I know you weren't saying that, but I think, yeah, I would assume it might just work too. I mean,
hopefully it'll just work.
yeah, right. I would assume it would, because they've hacked that so much to get the base working for the mod that, yeah, would assume it would
Dude,
work.
it looks so good,
Fallout's,
man.
like Fallout VR is a weird one because Bethesda just dropped it and left it to the mod community, and the mod community made all of Bethesda's official DLC work with the VR version, and most of the pancake mods do just work without much tweaking. But I don't know, we'll see on that one, I guess. Do you reckon the mod community are going to move on to Starfield ever?
Oh yeah, I don't know. I don't know. Yeah, well,
I don't know.
when the tools come out, yes, it doesn't matter what people are saying now. I mean, there's so many people playing it. You know, I know that there's issues with Starfield, and we can talk about it as we wrap it up. But overall, they've got enough people that it'll support it. You'll get a cool mod or two, and then people go, back in. But I would say with Fallout, it's also one of the best. Dude, Fallout 4 in VR is good.
Yeah,
It
I
is
heard.
good.
Yeah.
I have so many hours in that, way more than the original, and I liked the original. I mean, it had some issues.
Skyrim's so much better.
Yeah, I'm done with Skyrim, man. Done with Skyrim. I can't even I can't even hear the starting music without getting a little bile. And that's not like saying it's bad. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just because I've just done so much. What were you gonna say? Sorry.
Yeah, but dude, no, Fallout London, dude, it looks so good. It gave me like Fallout 3 vibes and stuff. It's a city, and it looks really good, man. I'm actually excited for it.
Is it like
these
a
mods don't come out,
full?
man.
Is it a replacement for the main game, or is it just DLC?
I think it's I don't know how it will work, but it's for sure like a big expansion. It's for sure like a big player created expansion.
Yeah,
like
I'll
new
check it out.
environment, new NPCs, new everything.
I haven't seen
factions.
it because it's hard, to return to it. Like, I almost don't want to see it because
Sure.
I'm nervous I'll try to return to it. I've got other things
Yeah.
that I need to do. But I'll
Yeah,
check
same
it
with
out.
I need to return to Thief because I really want to play the Thief mod that the
Right.
Arcane guy did, which is like 30. It's like amazing level design. It's like my friend told me it's like some of the best levels I've seen in Thief, and I really want to go back and try that. Yeah.
That was one thing before we wrap up that I was sort of going to talk about, was like, when you look at Starfield, you look at the numbers. It's funny because, ignoring Starfield itself for a second, been hearing a lot of devs saying something, which I don't know how they're going to fight this, other than I have heard a couple, like, might be why we go with a different store or whatever. So the big thing that's hurting some companies is Steam charts. And you're starting to hear people go, listen, if we have starting and not a bunch of people play it, even if it's not it's a small game, let's say you're a B developer and you make a small game, people are still saying, look at the Steam charts, oh, this game isn't doing very well, which then causes people to not jump into the game because they think the game won't be supported. We talked about all this before. And there's some people looking at like where do we release? If the negative news is always going to be the number without taking into account the amount of money for the game, or how the game launched. Did it add multiplayer later? I don't know, man. I love the extra data we get. I'm a user of Steam charts. We talk about it all the time, but I could see somebody a little nervous about it if they're releasing a smaller game. And they're like, what if somebody just randomly decides to do a video? You're like,
I think it's not only that, dude, but with this new age mentality of like everything has to be like a live service and ongoing and stuff like that, people are like bringing up month-old or 2-month-old single-player games and being like, "Oh, look at all the players falling off. It's a dead game now." Dude, it came out, people finished it, and you know what I mean? Like, there's a lot of that too, where it's just
yeah, it's a
and
very
then they're comparing
weird
like Baldur's Gate and stuff.
Well,
and
not only
it's
that,
like,
but you get people it's like if people bought it, they can play it whenever. We talked about this earlier. I saw one developer lamenting this. They looked and they said only a certain amount of people beat this game or whatever. They were like, we were just on a Steam sale. We got like 8,000 more buyers. They haven't even turned it on yet, or they haven't played through it yet. So, but then it's been reported as negative, and so there is something to be said there. I get where they're coming from. I'll just say that.
it's like the data is there, but it takes smart people to actually
Context.
Yeah, it's like you got to be smart to actually decipher the data and not be stupid as fuck,
Yeah. Or well, that is pretty aggressive. But I was trying to walk around that. But, we'll go with that.
Yeah.
Anyway, that'll be it for us. First of all, thank you very much for coming, man. That was a blast. I'm glad
thank
you
you
got
a
a
lot,
chance
man.
to jump in.
Good
Always
vibes.
cool to have you on. Yeah, good vibes. Good vibes. It was great to have you on.
I have to say as well, like, thank you to both of you, because like I say, I listened to the Wednesday show start to finish every week, and it is awesome for me. So thank you to both of you, and everybody in chat has been awesome as well. So
Yeah, we
really
got a good
appreciate
chat,
that.
man. Well, I told him before.
Yeah.
I'm like, I know we all
Chat
want to
today
tease
has
him.
been
I was like,
behaving.
I know we all want to tease him. Just don't this time. So I'm just joking. No, we do. We have a good chat, man. They're all awesome. Yeah, it's been a blast to have you on. We'll have you on anytime, man. Wednesdays are pretty open. We do a lot of. We got John coming next Wednesday. John from Digital Foundry, which will be fun to talk about games. We do want to start, throwing more people in here, but what happens is what happened this last time. I was like, oh shit, I'll get him on this Wednesday. I'll get better at it. 2024, everything will be fixed with the podcast. Technically, it's gonna be fixed. It's gonna be perfect. All the stuff will be perfect. All the little pop-ups. It's gonna be amazing. Just be prepared, people, because it'll be like watching Carnage, right? It'll just be perfect. That's happening. 2024. Bank on it. Flip that. Peace out, everybody. Have an Absy. You have anything?
No. Peace.
No. Peace out. Enjoy it, guys. Have a good week. See you Friday or not.